All right, and we're live. So, welcome back if you've been here before, and just welcome if it's your first time. Can I get an audio check, please? Sound check. How am I sounding? Let's see here. Blazing Game says hello. Nobody Boppin says hi, I'm here. Hi, Blazing. What's up, Boppin? Laza Proudmore says I can't wait to watch. So the wait is over. Here we are. And King J says, please can I get a channel review? Okay, that'll be the first channel review. Let me just, looks like I got a 5 out of 5 there, so loud and clear, hopefully. Cool. Well, I might as well jump right in and begin with King Jace's channel review. If I'm not mistaken, King Jace was the person yesterday who accused me of being unfair. So I will hopefully make it up to this person by providing a free channel review. And in the interest of fairness, I try to cap channel reviews at 30 minutes. So I'm going to start the clock now so I don't go too far. If you'd like a channel review and you don't like the randomness of having to ask for it in chat, then you can elect to get a paid channel review, which runs 45 to 60 minutes. I guarantee that it'll include action items for you, and I'll post the video of it on this channel. That way you can rewatch it as many times as you want and maybe give you a little bit more exposure, and other people might be able to learn from that video as well. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me through Facebook or Twitter is probably the best way, direct message, and we can work something out. But for today, I hope to go live for about 2 hours today, but I don't know, life gets in the way, so that's my hope. 2.5 hours maybe. And so, yeah, channel reviews is one of the things we do here. I also answer your questions, do live tutorials, Q&A, other stuff, wherever the conversation takes us. So, yeah, I'll just begin with this first channel review, capped at 30 minutes. Start the clock. Okay, so we've got King Jace here. Let's see, this is interesting because we're getting a music side panel here. So that would seem to think that there is an acknowledged musical artist by that name. The profile picture there does not seem to correspond to this channel picture, so there might be some brand issues there if there's a recording artist of the same name. Just scrolling down so I can see my TubeBuddy browser plugin. If you're curious about TubeBuddy, if you want to get it, there is a link down below. And this is the browser plugin I'm using here. Looks like most of the related searches are variations of the name. Most used tags, Seth Meyers Late Night. That's interesting. I don't know why that's coming up. NBC Television, talk show, comedy. Interesting. And so I'm thinking there's brand confusion there. TubeBuddy's giving this name a score of 35 out of 100, which it ranks as fair. Okay, just looking in here. Check that things are okay. Yeah, things can be all right. I was just checking in on chat very briefly to make sure that nobody was saying we can't hear you or anything. Okay, so the profile picture here, I don't know what that is. Like if I look really carefully, like if I really zoom in enhance cliche. Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at. Is there a propeller inside a thing? Is it a motorcycle? Is it a mask? I have no earthly idea what I'm looking at. It looks like there are some clouds and maybe some sort of like the cartoon version of when somebody runs away really quickly. So maybe there's an indication of some sort of speed. So that makes me think maybe it is like a motorbike or something with a propeller. I don't know. When I look carefully at it, I can see that it says King Jace, and then when I look even more carefully, I can see that it says Army, but that's only as it displays up here. So when I'm looking at it in chat, it's just some blue thing on some red background. Couldn't tell you much more than that. Now the colors and the color contrast stands out well, so it's got that going for it, which is good. So what I would recommend is making the core part of this image a little larger so that the text could be read. Maybe the word Army could be as a larger font as well, if that's an important part of it. Now I notice the image says King Jace Army, but the channel does not include the word Army. This also makes me wonder, is this about someone who is in the Army? And if so, that's not coming across very clearly. And so I think that, like, there might be things that could be done. I also notice that there's, at the bottom of the profile, there's just this little bit of, like, white or gray or maybe even yellow or something that's showing up for me that's being clipped a little bit, which really tells me that we could zoom in on this a little bit better so that it becomes more legible and more transparent as to what that actually is. So at this point, from the name, from my TubeBuddy information, from a profile picture, I don't know what this channel is about. Now from the channel description, I'm a YouTuber. I would love to know how many people on YouTube are not YouTubers, and I would love to know how many YouTubers are not on YouTube. If you can answer that, then you're a smarter person than I am. That is by way of saying that is redundant and provides no information, no enticement, and frankly doesn't feel particularly professional. And I love making videos. Okay, it's great that you love what you do, but you're still not conveying any information to people. As well, this A on and is capitalized, which is not the appropriate capitalization rules of English, and I, as its own word, should always be capitalized. And so that doesn't look great. Again, I'm nitpicking, but that also means these are easy fixes. And I love making videos. Looking good is good business. Now this is kind of interesting. Looking good is good business. I kind of like that. That's like a slogan. So this makes me think you're an entrepreneur or someone who does design work. So maybe you're a graphic artist. If your channel slogan is looking good is good business, I like that. That is solid. That should be at the beginning, because off of everything I've seen, you know, the TubeBuddy information about related searches and frequently used tags, your channel name and your channel profile, and the first 2/3 of what shows up in your channel description, I have no earthly idea what you're about. You could be an army brat, you could be a gamer, you could be a motorcycle enthusiast, you could build helicopters for a living. I have no idea. But looking good is good business. I like that. That's a good slogan. I like the sounds of it. It has a certain repetitiveness to it, and I like the slogan. You know, I think that one of the ways that we show respect for other people is taking care of our appearance. So I like that. And so I would suggest take out everything before the word looking. The fact that you love making videos is great. You can still include that in your description, but I would put it like lower down. Second paragraph is my suggestion. So what I would do is I would start off with, looking good is good business. That's great. Then go on from there to explain, please, for the love of God, what is your channel about? Because I have no earthly idea, really. Like, right now I'm guessing entrepreneur, graphic designer. I don't know. Not really sure if I'm right. So let's dive in and see how my assumption holds up. Okay. This is a very nice picture on your banner. It absolutely is a very nice picture. It's nice and crisp. You could bump the vibrance up a little bit to make the greens pop a little, but it's still a pretty good picture. I don't know what your channel is about. Why are you keeping it a secret? Why? Why? Why are you hiding it from people? People are lazy, and that's not a bad thing. Laziness is often another way of saying they're efficient. They don't want to spend their time on something that doesn't offer them a good return on investment. ROI, if you are an entrepreneur, that's a term you'd probably know. And so this here, while a very lovely picture, would do great on Instagram, I'm sure, with the appropriate tags, doesn't tell me anything about your channel. This makes me think you go hiking. Maybe you're an outdoor enthusiast, a sports person. Camping, maybe you're a survivalist, maybe it's RV living. I got nothing. Just nothing. And and as lovely a picture as it is, and don't get me wrong, I really do like this picture, in case I've been, you know, ambiguous so far. I don't think it's a subtle point I'm making. With the color scheme of your profile picture, there's no common colors practically at all, except kind of like the whitish gray. So this does not look like it's part of the same channel that has this profile picture. There's no consistency of image. So there's also that. In the bottom right-hand corner, there are no social links. This was something that I covered yesterday. And so I just want to address the fact that you said that it was unfair that I didn't review your channel yesterday. And I responded yesterday by saying a lot of what I say for other channels applies to any channel. And so that is true. If you'd been watching the channel reviews I did for the other people, I don't want to get too preachy here, but instead of kind of coming at me in the comments in the chat section, if you'd been listening to what I had been talking about, you could have learned about how to create social links here and done that in the meantime. And so that here today, when I am reviewing your channel, I could have spent time on something else instead of repeating what I said yesterday. But I will, because it looks like it's something that you would benefit from hearing. So in order to create social links here that are clickable, and it creates a look that is more consistent and fully fleshed out for your channel, a little bit more professional, and it gives people other places to go. I'll spare you the what if you have an overnight success and somebody steals your identity on Twitter speech from yesterday. I'm going to hope that you're paying attention to that at least. But in the... but you're going to want to, if for nothing else, to look a little bit more inclusive and give people other places to go. One of the things, again, I said, our audiences are lazy, and that is okay. We have to embrace that. And so we should try to meet them where they already are. And maybe they aren't so much on YouTube. Maybe they're more on Twitter. Yesterday, we had a conversation about how notifications on YouTube are not great. So following someone on Twitter with notifications can be an alternate method of notifying someone. So if you go and create a Twitter account, you can come in here and you can click edit, and you can go down, and down here you can add links. When you add links properly with the correct URLs and everything, it will put a little icon of Twitter or Instagram, whatever you choose to use, you know, Snapchat, what have you, in the bottom right-hand corner, and people can click on that to go to that platform and then follow you there as well. That might be how they prefer to get notifications. And, you know, if you use Twitter consistently, every video you publish, you should share on Twitter. If you do that, then you might get better audience engagement, because that might be how they prefer to get their notifications, or that might just be a more consistent way of messaging those notifications. So that's something I recommend. You also don't have your country indicated. I suggest you do that. That can be important for business potential partners, knowing what country they're dealing with, because they might be trying to reach a particular audience or consumer base. It might inform them what currency they're dealing with, what regulatory framework they might be dealing with. If they have a product that they want you to review or promote or sponsor you for, but that product is not available in your country, then that's a giant waste of time for them. So I strongly recommend you indicate what your country is. As well, when you do that, that will show up on Social Blade. And Social Blade is often, it's a free website. They've got a paid option. I haven't used the paid option. I don't think you need it. But if I were to go and look at you on Social Blade right now, come in and take a look. Select the correct channel. And again, I do like the color contrast. Your logo is easy to identify. I think just making it a little bit larger would be better. And so you see here how country is blank. And as a result, you do not have a country rank. I also find it interesting, there's no channel type here. So I have a video on this channel that talks a bit about how you do this, but I'll cover it briefly now. Having a channel type is useful. Again, don't keep what you're making secret. If you want to find an audience, you got to put yourself out there. And one of the ways that you do that is by giving metadata and information out into the world in a variety of ways, and I'll cover some of them today. And one of them is when you upload a video, you can select what type of video is it. Travel, education, personal, there's different categories. And so if you have your last 5 videos consistently tagged with the same type, Social Blade will generally pull that as your channel type and populate it here. So then people can find you a bit more easily. It's easier for them to understand what you are about. And you'll also benefit from seeing where you rank against other channels of the same type here on Social Blade. So that's something that I recommend. Yeah. So let's not go too deep into that just now. Although I will just very quickly show you how this can look by quickly social blading my own channel, Vacation Impossible. You see here that I am in Canada, and so my country is listed as CA here, and I am given a country rank. My channel is the 43,195th channel in Canada. And because I consistently tag my videos, and you can set this in your defaults on YouTube. You don't have to do it every time. Set it once and forget it. If you consistently put out the same kind of video, and ideally you should, at least within these categories, these are broad categories. You should be able to at least niche down to that. And so it knows I'm travel. And so in the travel space, my channel is 44,750th. Not great numbers, I admit, but things have been a little slow lately in my particular channel. But this one isn't about me, so I'm just going to go back here to your channel. You also have the ability on your About page to add an email address, and you can do it here in a way that is masked from bots, so that someone has to click on it so that they can view it. This, again, is important because if we are talking about business and you want to work with other businesses, and I still don't know what your channel's about, so I don't know if that's the case, but most channels at one point or another have that ability, and a lot of people have the interest in things like sponsorship, free products, things of that nature. Early access to games, things like that. You know, a free key to get a free game or something, and then review it, whatever it is. And so you want to have a professional way that somebody can reach out to you. And email is still somewhat the language of business in a lot of cases. And so you can put it here in a way that businesses can go and find it, but that the spiders and the bots and the spammers, it's not impossible for them, but it's a lot harder. And so you're not likely to get deluged with spam. If you don't already, I recommend setting up an account, an email account, however you do it, with your web provider, if you had a website or wherever, for your channel, your business specifically, because that might look a little bit more professional, depending on what your email address is. I don't know. So those are just some things to think about. I see here that you started the channel shortly before Christmas, and you have about 1,400 views. So still gathering information, still don't know what your channel is about. Going back to your home screen here, it's interesting. I'm seeing some thumbnails here, and it feels like there is a different amount of effort that has gone into these thumbnails. The first two do not look like thumbnails to me. They look like those automatically generated potential thumbnails when you upload to YouTube. That's not good for a couple of reasons. One, the algorithm gives you what I call a micro boost when you do all the things that YouTube lets you and recommends you to do. And one of those is uploading a custom thumbnail. I do have a video here on this channel that shows you how to do that. So I recommend that at some point you check that out if you're unfamiliar. That having been said, your next few thumbnails look like actual thumbnails. And so it's interesting. This third one really catches my eye because it looks like yarn, but it's a cake, and that is amazing. And you'll notice that this has more than double the views of your other videos here on your home screen. I'm willing to bet that's probably, let's go take a look. I bet that's your most popular video. It is. And it is your best thumbnail, in my opinion. Even though it is just sort of a picture. There's no text. You know, there's no arrows. There's no emojis. I'm not fond of emojis in thumbnails, but regardless, this is just a solid picture. Now, there are some things that could be done to pump it up a little bit, but I think the fact that it is such a striking picture on its own is, it does everything it needs to do on its own. One of the things I often talk about is that thumbnails need to tell a story. You may have noticed when we were on Social Blade, they actually embedded one of your videos. Thank you, Social Blade. It's nice that you do that, but it only shows your thumbnail and not the title. So your thumbnail needs to be able to stand on its own. This one over here that just looks like it was something that you shot in portrait on your phone, presumably just filming yourself, that tells us nothing about what that video is about. And so that's much less likely to get clicked on, at least a 2-to-1 ratio of this here, cakes that look like everyday objects. That is fantastic. That is a great title. It is professionally, you know, like no typos, no grammar, no whatever errors there. So this is your strongest video for a reason. And I think the biggest reason is that thumbnail. Thumbnails are critically important. They are, more than anything else, what will get people to click on your video. And so it's really worth investing time in thumbnails. And so that's a good one. Let's go back to the home screen here just to simplify matters. This is a very interesting picture here. This thumbnail, there's a lot going on. I think that there's a couple things there's 3 things that aren't helping you here at least. You have King Jace here. That is difficult to read because of the color of the font and the thickness of the font that you're using. And the fact is that's the name of your channel. If you're getting traffic because people are searching your name, then okay, putting your name in the thumbnail makes sense because there's a built-in audience out there that might be looking for you. Judging by your subscriber and view count, I don't think that's the case. I don't think there's a benefit in putting your channel name on the thumbnail. Additionally, you have an emoji here. It's like this shock, scared ghost emoji. I think, I can't be certain because it's being covered up by the time code. And so again, when I'm talking about one particular thumbnail, one particular channel, this applies to others. All of you watching, the bottom right corner of your thumbnails is not yours. You don't get to play in that space really, because the time code will cover it up. So you want to have, you don't want to don't worry about what's there. Don't put important things there. So this emoji is just sort of cluttering the image because it's being completely blocked. As I said earlier, I'm not a big fan of emojis in images or in thumbnails rather. So my personal taste would be not to include it at all anyways, but more so also because the time code is on here. Now looking at it here, you've got OMG in the top right-hand corner. I kind of like that font. I like that contrast. I would keep that. That's actually kind of cool. You say here, things that happen once in a lifetime. That's okay. That could be a little bit, like if you took out the King Jace and then you just put this like horizontal, then you could have this whole space to make that font a little bigger and easier to read. And so this looks like some sort of like explosion on an iceberg or something. But you also have this new sticker over on the corner here. And I don't think that's adding anything, because if they happen once in a lifetime, like new, what does new have to do with that? If it's once ever, then I don't understand what that's trying to say. More to the point also, just talking about labeling things as new. On the internet, things are kind of forever. I mean, if you're doing it right, you want evergreen content. I have videos that I posted 9 years ago that are still performing for me in one way or another. I have a Lemonade soda review that every now and then gets some very funny comments and still gets views for me. And so the labeling something new is a little problematic. There was, I think it was like in the 80s or 90s, there was a thing in the United States where I think Ralph Nader was pushing for consumer protection around labeling things as new. And so there was a period of time where he was actually successful, and there was some legislation that said, in the United States, you can't call something new if it's older than 6 months. That was sort of the definition of the day. I think the period of deregulation came along. I don't think that's entrenched in law anymore. I think it got repealed or something. I'm not an expert in American law, partly because I'm Canadian. I do have a degree in political science, though. That's why I find these things interesting. But for a brief period of time, at least in the United States, we had a technical definition of what was new and what was not. And I like the clarity in that. Too often, we use words in ways that mean different things to different people. And then I don't think we're communicating clearly. So this is a 3-week-old video. You know, after 6 months, it's not going to be new by at least that standard of definition if you're trying to say that this is a new video. And the thing is, you don't need to do that. When you upload a new video, it actually gets tagged as new in like search and recommended. So I don't think that's doing anything. More to the point, this thing that's exploding that looks like an iceberg, to the right of it, it looks like there's a ship, a tugboat or something, and that new is partially distracting and slightly covering that up. And so I think the new is taking away from it, because I find the boat fascinating. I mean, I'm a cruise guy. I love going on cruises. So, I mean, my eyes go to the boat and I'm like, what's that all about? But I think that it doesn't fit with the aesthetic of the image and the color scheme. So I would remove King Jace, the emoji, and new. I would flatten out things that happen once in a lifetime, and I'd increase the size of that font. That's my recommendation. And then I think that would perform a little bit better with those changes. It would be a cleaner image that tells you a bit more what it's about. Which movie is this? I'm guessing Titanic. Okay, so it's a Guess the Emoji Challenge quiz. I guess that kind of does a pretty good job. So again, remove King Jace because I don't think that's doing anything for you. The emoji in the bottom right-hand corner is covered and not adding to anything. You know, I like the emojis there for what you're doing, for what the purpose of the video is. I think the picture of you, like, thinking about it is good. Which movie is this? I think you could make that font a little bit bigger. And so if you did that, take out the extra emoji, King Jace, increase the font size of what movie is this, then that will be a cleaner, crisper image, and I personally would look more professional. I would be more inclined to click on that. I personally would find it more interesting. Now over here, this video, you have King Jace again, and I noticed that when you're using King Jace, you're not using a consistent font. You like got an Arial, you got some sort of a brush cursive something, and you got this kind of I don't know exactly, it's like the iRock font or something over on this one. So again, consistency, when people say be consistent on YouTube, that can mean a lot of things. That might mean upload every day or every Tuesday or something like that. That's a whole separate conversation. I'm not a fan of that kind of consistency. I do recommend at least once a week and no more than once a day. But consistency takes so many different shapes. And one of them is consistency of color scheme, appearance, font, a lot of these things. When you look at certain channels out there that are really professional, they have consistent colors and fonts frequently. Or maybe if they have like a theme set of videos, each theme will be within the theme consistent, even if there are multiple themes within a channel. And so I think that like I'm fine with experimentation. I think that that's good to see what works and trying different things and keeping your mind open. But from an audience perspective, consistency of look is really important. Out of these three fonts, I actually kind of like this third one the most. It's the most stylized. It's also the easiest to read, and it jumps out at me. But looking at this, that's where my eye is drawn to. The human eye is generally drawn to the color red. I think that's why YouTube uses it for its subscribe button and its logo and stuff like that, along with the psychological association of excitement and energy. And so maybe that's why that's jumping out at me. It's interesting because it looks italicized, but the E feels like it's cut off this way, even though everything else is kind of on an angle. So that doesn't look quite right. And also, that is the largest font on the screen, on the image. So this makes me think that this is primarily about you. And then the "you had one job" is secondary to that because it's a smaller font. It's also further down lower on the image. In Western society, people read left to right, top to bottom. So they would encounter your name first. And this does not seem to be about you. This seems to be about that whole thing of you had one job and you screwed it up. As I look at the image longer, I notice that, yeah, okay, the second yellow line is a big fat mess. So, okay, now I get it. But I've had to like look at it for a while and process information and do some thinking. Remember what I said, your audience is lazy. Don't make them jump through hoops to understand what you're about. Even the things that I'm seeing here, I'm not seeing a lot of consistency on this channel. And ironically, even though I know what some of your videos are about, I don't really know what your channel is about, oddly, because I'm not seeing a theme. We've got cakes, things that happen once in a lifetime, like an exploding glacier, an emoji guessing game, making fun of people who are doing a bad job. I don't know where I don't know what to call it. I'm struggling with that. Further, I noticed that this so I would drop the King Jace thing. And then maybe move "you had one job" up just a little bit so it's above the time code, and then increase the font size just a little bit. I don't know about the yellow outside outline on "you had one job." I would remove the yellow stroke and replace it with a black drop shadow instead. I think that would cause the white text to pop better and look a little bit more professional. And I noticed that you have hashtags in the title of that video, including a hashtag, again, King Jace. If you are famous already, if you have a giant TikTok following or Instagram following or Snapchat following or a giant Facebook audience, I can see why pushing your name would make sense to bring in your audience. But I suspect that's not the case. If it is the case, then I think you could do that, bring them over more effectively. With only 244 subscribers, I don't think that's what's going on here. And so I don't know that relying on your name as a method of drawing in a new audience is very effective. Remember that your audience, not only are they lazy, but your audience, when you have titles and thumbnails, is strangers, people who don't know who you are. So using your whatever level of celebrity you have as a selling point to people who don't know who you are carries no value, and it won't push them to click. It won't have them make a buying decision, as they say in the business world. So yeah, using your name as a hashtag, I don't know is very effective. So one thing that I would recommend in terms of basic channel layout, and again, I covered, I think, some of this yesterday, is popular uploads. You should come in here, click Customize Channel, go to the bottom and click Add Section, and you can choose popular videos, as a horizontal single playlist. Then your videos will show another row here of 6 videos or 5, depending on your resolution, and mobile will look a little different still with only 3, I think. But it will automatically sort them by what has the most views. And so that's a one-time, you set it and you forget it, and it's there forever. And as other videos get more views, then that will update automatically. And people can instantly go and see where your strongest videos are, at least in terms of getting eyeballs on them. I fully acknowledge that views does not always equate to quality. It might equate to quality of thumbnail. It might not. It could be a lot of different factors, but people like seeing that. I like seeing that. I'm lazy when, like, there's, I mentioned this in the past, I'm a big fan of Pat Contry. I discovered him because he appeared on Cinemassacre, Angry Video Game Nerd, and I went to check out his channel, and the first thing I did is I scrolled down to his popular videos, and I watched the first, like, top 2 or whatever, and I was like, yeah, this is a guy I want to subscribe to. That was how the infection vector worked for me, for lack of a better term. In fact, today that's probably not a great term to use, but you get the idea. And now I listen to his podcast. We drive down to Portland every year for Portland Retro Gaming Expo. I go and I watch both of his panels. I buy his books. I buy his DVDs. You know, I'll watch all the Pat the NES Punk videos. And so I am, I think, largely a true fan. In fact, I supported him on Patreon intermittently as well. And so I'm a very strong fan. And if he had not had his popular videos up there, I don't know that, like, all the links in the chain that brought me to be a true fan of his, I think one of the links would be missing, and I don't know that I would have connected that chain. So I might not have bought the 4 DVDs of his that I bought, or the 2 giant books at $60 US each that weigh 7 pounds and they're sitting in my bedroom right now that I enjoy. You know, I got his app on my phone. And so that one important piece could have been missing, and that could have made all the difference in the world. So it's an easy thing. You do it once. It's like 5 clicks. I highly recommend it. You have no playlists. Again, I don't want to harp on this, but you came at me in chat yesterday because, you know, you said I was unfair for not reviewing your channel. But the time that I was spending on other channels could have helped you, had you been paying attention. And one of the things I talked about was every video on your channel needs to be in a playlist. In fact, I remember I said it like there was a period after every word just yesterday. Every video on your channel needs to be in a playlist. I didn't say it exactly like that, but you get the idea. I'm just repeating it because I guess you missed it. And that's not hard to do. In fact, yesterday in the live stream, I demonstrated it. I went in and I showed people how they can add things to a playlist super easily from searching on their own channel. So I highly recommend that maybe you go back and check that out because I covered it in depth yesterday. But every video needs to be on a playlist. Even if you end up with some playlists that only have one video, it helps you in the algorithm. It helps you with search engine optimization because it gives YouTube more clues what you're about. And honestly, more than anything else, I think that's what's holding this channel back right now, is that you're not doing a particularly good job of telling people what you are about. And that is what's going to initially draw people in. You know, I often talk, and yesterday I went in depth about knowing your why. But before you can even get to that, you need a much more fundamental understanding. What is my channel about? What genre am I operating in? What subject matter am I dealing with? Because if you don't know that, you'll never get to the point where you'll be able to explain your why to anyone. You got to have that clear before you can get eyeballs on your channel. And that's half an hour. All right, let's go see what's going on in chat. Laza Proudmore says you don't have to message him to do that. Well, actually, yeah, if you have a question or a request, chat is where you would communicate that to me. So maybe not like a direct message. I'm not sure what you're saying there, but in chat for these live streams, I go by the chat. Chat kind of rules the day in that regard. Let's see. He goes to the chat. It's first come, first serve. Generally true. Lots of thumbs up. How's everybody doing? The Vintage Brick says, hey there, Ray. I would love a quick channel review. Pretty please. Quick channel review. Okay. I wonder what quick indicates. Sure, I'm actually going to start before I start the search, partly because it's quick. So let's start the clock again. Half an hour on the board. Sound like a game show host. Survey says... first off, your channel name as it displays in chat, the Vintage Brick. It's a cool name, makes me think Lego or bricklaying. And we have Brickworld Therapy, so they might find that interesting if it is Lego. But again, I don't mean to harp on it, but the issue of capitalization, you don't capitalize vintage or brick, whereas you notice a lot of the other people in chat, they have capitalization of the various words for their channel name. So that's something I recommend. I know it sounds like nitpicking, grammar Nazi, whatever you want to call me, but honestly, it's a first impression moment. And people are judgy. Like, even the most open-minded person, they just don't have time to keep open minds about everything all the time. Otherwise, they'd never get out of an aisle in the grocery store. So, like, people need to make snap decisions all day long, and they make decisions all day long, and it is exhausting. And so they're going to judge you by their terms, not by the ones that you would hope or necessarily expect. And so I know it's a little thing. A classic example that I give for this is in acting, you need to do the little things really well. So if you're watching an intense dramatic scene, right, and you're emotionally invested, you care about the characters, and you want to know what's going to happen, and you're on the edge of your seat, and somebody's like, okay, I'm gonna pick up the phone, and I'm gonna call my cousin, and he's gonna come rescue us, and he picks up the phone and just, yeah, hey, you're like, what the hell was that? You're not pressing buttons, you're not selecting a contact, you're not dialing anything. You're just, what was that? What? And now you're completely out of the movie. You've lost the emotional connection. You're not on the front of your seat anymore. And suddenly everything feels fake and unprofessional. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening with you. I'm just like, this is an analogy. And I just want to try and make the point. So that doing the little things can add up to a big difference. And so when I'm watching a movie or something and somebody goes to pick up the phone and they clearly press several digits, 7 to 10 digits in North America, whatever, it might be if there's an area code or whatever, an old rotary phone if it's an old movie or something. These little things, they don't take me out of it because it keeps me in their world. It keeps me in the fiction that the story is living in. And so that suspension of disbelief that you have to enjoy any piece of art, really, I think, is easier when the little things are done well. And I'm not sitting there, instead of being like, oh, is his cousin going to come and rescue him? Now I'm like, well, this guy's lazy. Well, this is a movie. This isn't very good, and they've lost me over something so incredibly minor. And like I mentioned this in previous live streams, one of the funniest things is Stephen Colbert. He actually does a really good deconstruction of that fact. If you ever see him where he's pretending to type on a laptop or something, he'll randomly hit it with his elbow, and so it's, how do you want to play it? There's, what is it? The thank you notes, I think Jimmy Fallon does, where he's like, starts writing, right? And it's like he's writing, and so you're into it, right? And so Colbert goes in the other direction. He's like, this is a bit, my audience knows it's a bit, I'm going to respect their intelligence, and I'm going to get a laugh by using my elbow to type. And so I think that just sort of typifies why the little details can really matter. Might not be the feedback you're looking for, but here we go. That is a very nice picture of you. It looks like a very professional headshot. I like that. It doesn't convey information about your channel, but again, with the profile picture, you have very few pixels to play with, so it's not always easy to do that. Ideally, you want it to look professional, enticing, and communicate information. I think you've got 2 out of the 3, so I think you're doing well there. I don't have much feedback on the thumbnail. The name seems to be working for you. You come up, your channel is the first result. All of the video results beneath that and the playlist result are all your channel. So you are owning your name quite well there. You know what? I'm gonna pause for just one quick second here. I just need to do a thing. I'm just a little uncomfortable. Just give me one quick moment. Holy God, I've been muted this whole time. Oh my God. Chat must be losing their mind. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Wow. Wow. That was a technical fail. That was all me. Holy God. Okay. Were people messaging me? Yep, they were. I missed it. I am so sorry. Let me just go back and quickly recap what you should have heard. Wow. That's no good. Okay, what I was saying is that this, your profile picture is great. Proper capitalization on the channel name would be better. And your description here is perfect. It's great. It's intriguing. You know, it starts off, my secret is out. I've uncovered Lego from when I was a kid. That draws out the nostalgia dimension. Is it wrong to ... People are going to want to click. So, okay. The little things matter. Wow. Okay. That's cool. One of the things also I mentioned, I was looking at the previews that came up on your videos, and your videography looks very, very professional. That is a huge advantage that you have. And so just looking here, again, the vintage brick highlight reel, I think capitalizing each word in that would look a little bit better. I also like the idea that you're calling your channel trailer a highlight reel, because a channel trailer is kind of jargon, but by calling it a highlight reel, I think that's something people will identify with more, and it's more searchable, so I think that was a good choice. And the way that you described this here could be a little better. It says, we're revisiting some of the great moments from the first 4 months of journey of the vintage brick. It's a little wordy. It's a little hard to read. And so what I would say is maybe just pare it down to something like revisiting some of the great moments from the beginning of the journey of the vintage brick. Something like that. I think that would be a little tighter. You know, the first 4 months, I think, is a turnoff, because people might feel like they're late to the party. Again, if you're making things for a new stranger, that would be a concern. And so I would probably not bother mentioning the 4-month part of it. Let's take a look at what started the channel, introduce some of the characters we met along the way, and relive a few of the hilarious moments. Awesome. The rest of that is fine. I think that first sentence is just a little clunky and can be pared down slightly, but that's pretty solid. I really like... Okay, I'm kind of getting it. I like this banner. I really like the vintage brick, the Lego guys you've got here. They are awesome and a little hilarious. And like, now that I see your profile picture in the context of the banner, it almost adds like an element of mirth. Like, you're kind of smirking, like, this is fun, we're gonna have fun, you're gonna have a laugh. Like, I've got something funny to show you. And I think that comes off really well. Because other people trying to do that can sometimes come off as arrogant, but I'm not feeling it here. It's feels like an appropriate level of comedic confidence, if that makes any sense. So I think that's really good. The background image here, I get it, but it took me a little while to get it. And so you got like the astronaut guys here, something red here, the yellow guys here. The background image, I think, could be a little clearer. And I mean that literally, that it could be slightly more crisp. Now, I know that you want it to be kind of fuzzy, out of focus as a background, so that the primary focus is on the crispness here. But I think that it's been blurred to such a point that the only place I got the sense of what it was is right here, this yellow hand just to the right of your second character. That's where I saw, oh, these are Lego guys. But that is the only part of the background image that made that clear. So I think the yellow part is fine. But the stuff to the left of your logo, this is so blurry, I needed this piece of the puzzle to figure out what this whole half of the background image was. So if there's a way to tighten it up a little bit. Also, this line here looks a little artificial. And I don't know if that's accurate or not, just because of the blurriness. Like, this is all soft lines. This line looks less soft. Not sure quite what's going on there. I'm nitpicking, I know, but I think this channel's got so much potential. And so nitpicking is about what I'm probably going to be able to do for you, because you're doing so much so well already. But that was just some thought about that. You've got your Facebook, your Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon linked, which is awesome. I'm just kind of curious about your Patreon. Hopefully this won't show too much of... No, okay, not too much of my stuff. Support brick, mid-level support brick, structural support. I like that. I like that. Personal thank you video, voting power, heartfelt thanks, chat community. Interesting, interesting. I'm still figuring out how to use my Patreon. I've got 2 Patreon supporters, so... Oh, this, okay, you see, that's interesting. This, now that I see this, the image in its entirety, this is fantastic. It's just not translating as well on YouTube on my browser. which is a shame because that's a great image you've got there. I just think the YouTube browser display is not doing it the justice it deserves. So, okay, that's cool. So you got those links. Those are all working. That's fantastic. You've got your uploads here. You're doing some great things with your thumbnails here. I like how... Oh, the highlight reel is only a month old. Cool. Oh, yeah, it says it up there. How are you getting so few views? You're doing so much so well. This, like, bothers me that you don't have more views. I imagine it bothers you much more. Like, your thumbnails are great. Nice, crisp images. One of the things you could do to make these colors pop a little bit more, the red, the blue, the orange, that could pop a little bit more. If you're using Photoshop, it's the vibrance setting. When you go to image adjustments, there's vibrance, and then you can set it. What I recommend is a +25 on vibrance and a +25 on saturation. Because in my experience, what happens is when you have the JPEG uploaded on YouTube and then it gets compressed, I think something about the compression removes some of the vibrance and richness of the colors. And so I think it's okay to make it slightly artificially rich before uploading so that you compensate for that loss of richness when it gets compressed. And so just like, yeah, 25 points on both. Now, when there's people in the shot, that can do weird things with flesh tones. So sometimes I'll do like 50 on vibrance and nothing on saturation. If you're curious about how exactly that works and where to click in Photoshop, I do demonstrate, I have the mind of like a 12-year-old. I do demonstrate that in my live Photoshop tutorial, which you can watch on the channel, where I actually design a thumbnail from scratch to finish in Photoshop. It's like a 20-minute video. You can probably skip the first 5 minutes to jump right in. And that actually shows you like how you can do that and the effect that it'll have on the image in case you're not sure exactly where to click. If you don't use Photoshop, that might have limited value. I'm just a Photoshop guy, so that's my thing. But then I think the colors in the background image could pop a little bit more. But they're nice and crisp. This first one here with the magnets, that almost looks like the box art, but I know it's not. And so that's really nice how you incorporated the Lego logo there. That's incredibly professional. Some of the things also that I like about what you're doing is you're very expressive with your faces here in the shot. And so it gives you a really good sense of like, I'm probably going to see someone expressive and emotional that I can identify with and has authenticity. And you're saying all that in just your thumbnail, which is really effective. And so you're doing very well there. Again, here a little bit with the work and over here with, I'm thinking Marvel. Or something. The time code in that bottom right-hand corner is getting you a little bit. So that's just something to be mindful. Again, your thumbnails are really, really good, but a small thing is remember that bottom right, like 10% of the image is frankly just not yours. It is dead space. So don't put text there if you can avoid it. Or important, you know, like here your mouth and your face and everything is above it, so that's fine. This one is kind of getting into the smirk. So it's a real technical thing, I know, but like over here, you're on the left-hand side, it's easier. If you took, on this image here, if you took, how does that work? If you raise that text up just a little bit, if you cut the head space above the text in half, totally solves that timecode issue, and then it would look better on all displays. So that's a little thing there. The journey of the vintage brick. Again, capitalization, it's a little thing, but you've got a playlist, and your playlist has a description. Those are good technical things. You got popular upload. I'm not sure that you're ready for featured playlists since it's not populating the full space here. But I think that you might have, what I would recommend, instead of this featured playlist, take like Lego Technic builds and put that here as a horizontal single playlist instead, would be my recommendation. Maybe put it above the popular uploads. I like to space out uploads and popular uploads because sometimes there's duplication there, and it just sounds similar, so putting your unique playlist in between the two, I think is a good design choice. One thing I just want to point out for everybody watching, look at this. He's captioning every one of his videos. 10-minute video captioned. I respect that hustle, and that helps you get more views. This is why I'm like, why do you not have more views? This is bothering me. But I do think you have huge potential. How long have you been at this? Is this a fairly young channel? Okay, so just since November, that explains a little bit of it. And just 6,000 views across the channel. You're in New Zealand. Awesome. Stupid Robot Fighting League is from New Zealand as well. Okay, cool. I'm rediscovering my childhood love of Lego by living vicariously through my alter ego, the vintage brick. That's a great story. And you're telling it in one sentence. It's the beginning of the second graph. This is perfect. He'll be building the Lego from my youth and acquiring some amazing new sets along the way. The vintage brick can't take all the credit, however. Some others will also join in on the fun. Take it seriously. This is awesome. Great description. Like, you can write. You can design thumbnails, like, fairly well. Some slight tweaks to watch out for, little technical things. And yeah, like, my sense of your videography and stuff is great. You've got playlists here. Lego Star Wars builds, I think, has a lot of potential. I think that's very popular. And also the classic space. One thing just thinking about capitalizing on is, as someone who has a passing familiarity with Lego, I've seen Lego at, like, Comic-Con, like Death Stars and stuff that were amazing. And of course, you know, my kid is Lego and I played with Lego as a kid. I have a passing familiarity with it. I'm a filthy casual, a term from I guess the gaming community. I don't know if Lego, if brickheads, is that what they called? I'm not sure. Would use the same term. But for me, I think of, like, the Lego movie. And one of the standouts from the Lego movie was that little space guy, right? Spaceship, spaceship, spaceship. And so I think that you could potentially, in maybe a future thumbnail or something, honestly, a spaceship build, that Lego guy, and just the word spaceship with an exclamation point, that alone could make for a very clickable thumbnail. Those other Lego channels out there listening, feel free to use that idea as well. That could be quite compelling for the casuals, I think. Let's take a look here at, yeah, these are the playlists. I do recommend having the featured channels thing activated if you're looking for someone to feature. We have Brick World Therapy. They might be someone you might want to consider. Or just the official Lego channel or something. I think it gives you a micro boost in the algorithm, as well as it shows you as a strong community, strong supporter of the community. So I think that would be a good thing to do for those two reasons. As well, there's something called session watch time. So after somebody watches one of your videos, maybe if they don't stay on your channel, but they stay on the platform, how long they stay on the platform, you kind of get a partial credit for in the algorithm. And so, you know, yeah, okay, there's the concern of I don't want to drive people away from my channel, but if you're driving them to content that they really like, and it's in the same niche, you do actually kind of get help for that. And it's better than them clicking off platform or closing the window, because then your session watch time comes to an end, right? You always want to give them somewhere to go. That's why, actually, let's dive into this for just a second, because I want to see, I want to use TubeBuddy here to take a look. If you don't have TubeBuddy, get it. Link down below, it'll help you. Yeah, like, okay, you've got end screens. I'd also advise info cards. Maybe you already do. TubeBuddy hasn't been great lately, but accurately reflecting that. But that's the thing, is you want to give people other opportunities to click onto other things that keeps them on the platform. End screens is a fantastic way of doing that, but recommended channels is also another way. Info cards is another way. And so that's fantastic. Well, that's interesting. No comments here. Interesting, interesting. How are you doing on these tags? Yeah, you're ranking for your name, but not so much anything else. I imagine Lego is incredibly competitive, but I'm not sure. So that's interesting. Another thing here is you can have hashtags appear above your title. One could just be your channel name. So what you do is you put the hashtag, and any characters after that before a space anywhere in your description will appear above the title. So that's another thing. You can get a small micro boost. And again, it's about keeping people on the platform. So they click on that. Maybe it's not your video, but they stay on the platform, so your session watch time is okay. And that's a good thing to have. Let's take a look here. Channelytics. Okay, so you've got some... Okay, you got some channel tags here. Funny Lego videos, Lego speed builds, vintage Lego, solid. I'm not really sure about some of these. The Vinta, vintage without the E, VI. I can't imagine that's doing much for you. I don't know what that's referring to. Maybe it's like a jargony term, or maybe they're typos. I'm not sure. So I would probably take that out if it's not something that I'm just not understanding here, and adding maybe a little bit more examples. Like, for example, you have the Lego Technic. Is Lego Technic one of your things there. You might want to put Lego Technic as one, Lego Technic build, Lego Classic Space build, something like that. Oh, you got Lego Classic Space. You got that there, so that's good. Those are just some thoughts about that. A full, I don't know what that is. So let's see. It looks like you had a bit of burst of views on June 5th. And looks like you gained a little bit of subscribers, and then shortly thereafter gained a jump. And so, yeah, you had a video on June 5th. So the video you did on June 5th performed well for you. Yeah, okay. I'm slowly piecing this together. So it's been 3 weeks since you've had a video come out. I imagine that a lot of work goes into these, so you're probably not able to crank them out really fast, but if you were able to ramp up your production so that you could release one video per week, I think that would be that could be a tipping point. That could be a trigger for priming the algorithm and having your channel really take off. I totally understand if that's not doable, and don't stress if it isn't, but I think that would be a huge thing you could do. All right. Okay, I want to take a quick look at this here. Yeah, like I noticed that your videos they're not being shared on Twitter, and they're not being shared in Reddit. So if one thing that we're seeing here also is that these tags are hard to rank for. Particle ionizer, you're ranking for that. That is kind of awesome. And you'll notice, let's talk about this for just a second instead of a learning opportunity. You're ranking number 7 for Particle Ionizer. Particle Ionizer is in the title. Particle Ionizer is in the description. And Particle Ionizer, of course, is in the tags. This, as we mentioned before, this guy captions everything, which is amazing. If he says the words, and those are also captured by the captions, then that's another big plus. So that's part of how you're doing well there. But that it looks like it's really hard. There's a little bit of magic happening there. And so when you have a niche where the search terms are intensely competitive, and that can be a problem, then you're going to want to consider trying to find your audience in other places. Now, you got 113 likes on Facebook, so you're crushing it on Facebook. That's good. But, you know, find your audience where they are. So, you know, sharing things on Twitter and on Reddit is something that I definitely recommend. Just want to go back here. I like that. You got good energy there. So, like, you do have a Twitter. What are you using Twitter for if not to share your videos? Okay, somewhat. Not a lot of activity here. December, January, May, and June 6th. So, what you're going to want to do, and I mean, don't take this the wrong way, you only got 2 followers, so don't worry that you're spamming people too much on Twitter. On Twitter, they say that the average lifespan of a tweet is something like 21 minutes. So if it doesn't get picked up within about 20-odd minutes in terms of people replying, liking, or retweeting it, then it kind of, it's almost, you know, it kind of fades in terms of its value. And remember, Twitter is what they call it, a microblogging platform. And so one of the things that every social media platform has a different sort of culture and acceptable usage around it. And one of the things on Twitter is that, like, you know, higher frequency tweeting is much more acceptable there than on other platforms, because they are limited in their size, and there is just that age factor. So every time you upload a video, you should share it to Twitter. And it's very easy. After the upload screen, you'll have a bunch of social media icons. You can go through, find the Twitter one, click it. It'll open up the window. I recommend deleting the via at YouTube part, and then just post it. And you never know what that might bring. If you can think of like at least 3 hashtags to add to it, that can help as well. But even just doing something like that. Additionally, Reddit. I'm not seeing any evidence here that you're active on Reddit. Reddit can be a scary place, I freely acknowledge. And so we have set up a subreddit where you can play. Safely. Relatively safely. Make no promises. This is the Small YouTubers Boost subreddit here. Let me just make it so you can see it. I'll just quickly hide chat for a moment. So this here is the Small YouTubers Boost subreddit. And so it has basically the same rules as our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/group/smallYoutubersBoost. So this is the Small YouTubers Boost subreddit, and what we did here is we created a community and a sandbox is what it is. So if Reddit's a little intimidating for you, that's totally normal. I felt the same way. My first experience with Reddit, my primary channel is a travel channel, and so I went to share it in a big travel subreddit that had 2 rules. One was only post things you yourself have created, and no self-promotion. And so I was banned in 14 seconds because what else was ever going to happen there? And that was off-putting for me. And Redditors have a habit of being blunt, let's say, savage perhaps at times. And so, you know, the hate comments on YouTube, sometimes Reddit's worse, but it depends on the community you find. And so one of the things is like, let's make it so that your technical skills are at least a little bit better before you wade into those communities. So here you can go and you can create a post. And you can see, like, you can post, or you could post a link. When you post a link, it pulls the title from YouTube, but not always properly. Sometimes you might want to post and type everything out and put your link down here. What does that look like once it's posted? This is a safe space where you can play with those things, see how it looks, see other posts, interact with other people, maybe even gain a little bit of that karma that will enable you to post in other communities. Some communities, for example, the Amazon customer service one that I ranted about yesterday, so I won't dive into in too much depth, they mandate you have 100 karma before you can even post there. Karma is something that you achieve when people click upvote on your post. And so maybe you'll get some karma there. I don't know. But this is a place where you can kind of safely share things. And then from there, you can begin to, as you build confidence and competence, maybe go and find some of those communities out there. And so, you know, also in addition to doing the best you can to do well in search, both on YouTube and Google and other search engines, Bing, et cetera, what a good approach is, because it's so competitive, those terms, is if you can find the communities. It sounds like you've already found one on Facebook, judging by what I was seeing in TubeBuddy. But maybe you can find communities in subreddits, and also just get your stuff out there on Twitter as well. Might draw a bit more of an audience in. I think that your channel just is nothing but potential. I think you're doing so much so well that I think this can really, really take off. I really think that it can. And also another thought, I don't know if it would be easy to do, but maybe collaborations. Again, we do have Brick World Therapy here, and their Lego channel as well. I'm not really sure how that would work, particularly in the current world, or how a Lego collaboration would work at all. You know, generally you're in New Zealand, other people maybe not be, you know, geographically co-located. But here's a crazy thought, and I'm at 30 minutes, so I'm going to end the review with just my crazy suggestion. Although I know I lost a little bit of time to muting my microphone because I had to turn my fan on. Sorry about that again. That was unprofessional of me. I will own that. But maybe one thing is, it looks like there was speed builds. Now, I don't think the Brick World Therapy is about speed builds, partly because it's supposed to be like a calming Zen-like thing, but there could be other channels out there that maybe you could challenge them to speed build. And like, who can build this set that you both have faster? Have some rules around it. You could have some accelerated footage in the final product. It could begin on one channel and end on another, or you could do... I did a collaboration with Angela Lynn, where we did a scavenger hunt in downtown Vancouver. And so she had her camera guy, I had my camera person, and we shared our footage. And what we did is, I sent her everything I filmed, she sent me everything she filmed, also all the stills for thumbnails and whatnot. She did her independent edit in the style of her channel. And then I did my independent edit in the style of my channel. And so hers was kind of a vlog channel, a little bit more traditional, a lot of jump cuts, a little bit more humor, funny sound effects, zoom effects, things like that. My channel is a bit more sort of an educational travel channel. So like the things I chose to include would include like where we were talking about maybe a tourist attraction or the history of a building or how much the app cost or things like that. Where she focused more on like, oh, our epic failure trying to find something in the city. And so it was 2 different takes on a similar thing, and then we cross-linked to each other. So there's I think there's a lot of different potential there. So yeah, no, and the thing is, age, subscriber count, and views notwithstanding, if another channel were to come and look at your channel, the art and the layout is so professional, the videography is so professional, I think they would be inclined to work with you, because it would make a positive impression on them. So that's something to think about. And if you do want to pursue something like that, a collaboration of some kind, whatever channel you have, this is for everybody watching, if you want to do a collaboration with someone, have a good idea. Don't go trying to go to Social Blade and see the channel that has the most subscribers or something in your niche. That is not a great focus. And then it's all about what you can get and the numbers and stuff like that. People, I've done a few collaborations in my day, and my process, my philosophy is if you approach me with a collaboration, I want to know what the idea is and exactly what you expect my portion of it to be. I want to know if I think it's a good idea and can I commit to what you're asking of me. And then I will either agree or disagree. And only after that will I then go check out your channel to see how many subscribers and views and stuff like that. And so, like, when James Rolfe, Angry Video Game Nerd, Cinemassacre, 3 million subscribers, he's talked about at convention, and I've talked to him because I met him one time, which was amazing. He's a super nice guy. When he decides to work with someone, it normally happens one of two ways. He either becomes aware of them independently, like he did with Scott the Woz. And so he just became aware of this person, reached out, wanted to work with them, had an idea. Cool. But when Pat Contry approached him, it was that Pat had an idea for a collaboration that he loved. And so that's how you can, you can't plan to be noticed by someone. But you can potentially control how developed your idea is that you might approach somebody with. If you were looking for a way to approach someone, I recently did a video called 4 Books All YouTubers Need to Read. And one of the ones that I mentioned here is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, which is amazing. One of the things he talks about here and in some of his videos is he talks about like how he approaches people to speak at his school. And so one of the ways that he does it is he's like, would it be a ridiculous notion for me to ask you if you wanted to do this? And then have the this be a really good quality idea. And I think that's how you would reach out to a larger channel. Or even just a channel that for whatever reason, might be hesitant to do the collab that you need to do a little sales job on. Let's see. Nobody bopping. I had to go to bed soon. Mr. Sykes Gaming. Love to have my channel looked at. Okay. Mr. Sykes Gaming. I think I've looked at you before. And again, I just want to stress that that it's a nitpick, but that capitalization thing, the Sykes being a lowercase s, it just doesn't look right. And so, like, why work against yourself that way? It's an easy fix, I would think. Mr. Sykes Gaming. Okay, I like the text here. That pops really well. It wasn't super visible in chat, but chat squishes the icon so tiny that it's kind of ridiculous. I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at here. Is this like the front of a bus? And I don't know what's behind that. It looks like a seal or something. Maybe like the Rebel Alliance. I don't know. So I'm really not sure about the graphics behind it. The text for the name is solid. Clearly, you're about gaming. That's easy to read. That's professional looking. You're getting a lot of points there. Let's see here. Scoring fair on TubeBuddy, but don't pay that too much mind. Most used tags: Challenge, Minecraft, Gaming, Funny, Fortnite, Linkin Park. Linkin Park. Okay. And it's interesting. There's a verified channel. It's coming up down here with 4 million subscribers. Just somebody who has the same last name, I guess. That's interesting. Okay. I'm Mr. Sykes Gaming. Of course you are. Frawn, North Wales, UK. Again, it's these little things that just, like, people are just probably not going to click. If you didn't put the effort in, then they're going to wonder if it's worth their time and how much effort you put into your videos if you didn't put a lot of effort into the description. I do live streams of games and some machinery uploads. Interesting. I do my streams when I can. Okay. So what I would rewrite this to be, and feel free to use it if you want, you could say Mr. Sykes Gaming from North Wales, UK features live streams of games and machinery uploads. No, not uploads. Don't say uploads. Mr. Sykes Gaming from North Wales, UK features streams of games and machinery videos. I guess. I do my streams when I can. No, don't say that. Not in text. Streams can come at you when you least expect it, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. How's that? A little bit better, maybe? I don't know. Feel free to use it. It's kind of a modification of what I do for this channel, just because you know, honestly, if you had asked me yesterday when was I going to go live today, I probably would have guesstimated around 12:30, and I ended up going live at like what, 2:45. So, yeah, I think that might be a way that could be punched up a little bit. Let's dive in. Shut down my Chanalytics for now. So the first two thumbnails are not great. They look like pre-created things from YouTube itself rather than something you made yourself. That's not super professional. So really, custom thumbnails, even like, yeah, these are short videos, 55 seconds, a minute 07. Custom thumbnail. It's important. It gives you an algorithmic boost, and it makes you look way more professional. I can't stress that enough. When I see something like this, what's for one thing, you're basically only using the middle third of the thumbnail. This is just kind of a reproduction and being wasted. Oh, look, there are arms. Wonderful. That doesn't add anything. And so it looks like you're in a kitchen. I don't know. You got a bottle of something. I don't know what's going on here. And so when I see a thumbnail like that, the thing inside this middle third has to be so freaking amazing to get me to click on it. That they are at a disadvantage, because this tells me this person just shot something with their phone. They didn't make a thumbnail. They probably didn't edit the video. If they are not like amazingly attractive or talented or doing something just mind-blowing, I'm not clicking on that. And again, it's nothing personal. It's not you. It's just how my lazy mind works. Oh, we're on the featured channels. That's 2 in 2 days. You guys are amazing. I love you people. Thank you so much for doing that. Honest, wow. So, okay. Let's see here. Getting up to the banner. Oh, that must have been that thing. That's what's behind Mr. Sykes Gaming. It's this Euro Truck Simulator thing. Yeah. Okay, so that was a truck. I was right about that. I don't know. I do think the actual, keep the text in your profile picture, but the stuff behind the text, I think that needs a rethink. I'm not exactly sure what would be right. That truck is kind of coming through, but it's also in its own circle. Maybe drop the thing behind here and like make that the whole thing, but keep the truck high enough that it's clearly a truck. Because I'm noticing, yeah, Euro Truck, American Truck Simulator. This seems to be a farming simulator. Okay, so it's about trucks and farming games. Okay. It's a niche, and it's niched down, and that is an advantage to you algorithmically, so that's good. You've got this logo here, but the K, the top right-hand corner of the K is cut off. That doesn't look like a proper, you know, end like here. So that doesn't look great. And so if you could do something about that, that would be good. Mr. Sykes Gaming, you've got good contrast, the red against the blue. This drop shadow is on like another floor though. You know, it's like all the way down a flight of stairs away from this. And so a drop shadow serves a couple of purposes. I think primarily in banners and thumbnails, it's just to make the text pop a little better and make it easier to read. In other situations, it can look like a real shadow. But I don't think that is a good, and maybe that's what you're trying to go for here, but like, why this plane? Why that far down? Why not all the way down? Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I think having a drop shadow is a good idea, but move it way closer to the thing that it's a shadow of, is my advice. Because also, you notice how I said, oh, truck. Oh, no, wait, farming simulator. You remember that from like 90 seconds ago? That's because with this drop shadow behind it, the farming simulator didn't pop as well, because it has this dark outline, and then there's this stuff going on behind it, and it's so close to the Mr. Sykes Gaming. This part was kind of an afterthought. And so if you move this drop shadow up, and maybe even move the Mr. Sykes Gaming thing up a little bit more as well. So, like, take this this headspace above the text again and cut it in half so that the top comes up to about here. And then move the drop shadow up so that it's much closer. That will help the text further pop. I think that'll look really good. Then you'll have a bit of a clear space behind Farming Simulator. That'll be a little bit better. Farming Simulator 19. If you have featured any Farming Simulator that is not Farming Simulator 19, then I would remove that 19 part of it. Just cut that part of the image out and recenter the farming simulator. This farming simulator text is probably from the logo of the game. It's beautifully designed. It pops great. It's easy to read. It's wonderful. But the 19, I feel like it has a limiting effect. What if Farming Simulator 20 comes out? What if I'm curious about an old farming simulator? This makes me feel less inclined unless I've played this one specific game. Similarly, I like the fact they have multiplayer here, multiplayer there. That makes that clear. But Simulator 2, again, it's a specific game. I think rather, if you've played more than 2, making it like about the franchise rather than a specific game might actually be good. People always say niche down, but on a banner at a channel level, like that might be niching down to a franchise is good. To a specific game, I'm not sure. Like if you did a Mario channel, but you only ever played Mario World, I don't know. I think niching down to Super Mario games on Nintendo is probably niche down enough. And so this is all about simulators, truck and farming simulators, right? So that's pretty good. This one over here on the right, that's fine. That is good. I have no recommendations for that. I think that's fine the way it is. But that's just some thoughts on the banner. Again, like I mentioned in the previous channel review, no social links here. You got your email address and you got your location, which is solid. Your Discord link here is not clickable. If you put it down here as a link, it would be clickable both there and in your banner. Again, I recommend at least Twitter, just because Twitter's easy. Not easy to find success, but easy to set up, set it, and forget it. So go create an account, tie it in, add the link down here. Every time you upload a video, just click on that icon, delete the via at YouTube, and click tweet, and that's all you need to do to begin to establish a presence on that platform. It's relatively easy, and it might bring you traffic. And at the very least, again, to accompany, let's say Farming Simulator 21 is coming out, right? And maybe they got a closed beta or something, and they want to invite some people in, and then they want you to do an early review or something. They want to give you a free copy. Maybe they want to sponsor a video, right? But they see here, they're like, okay, but if I work with this person, all I get is YouTube. But if they see that you're also on Twitter, it shows that you're a little bit more expansive, and they might benefit on Twitter as well as just YouTube. So there's a variety of reasons to do that, even if you're just doing it in a cursory level. You can go and become Joshua, thank you for messaging me when I was muted. I'm sorry I missed your messages. It would have saved me some embarrassment. I appreciate you trying. But the fact that it feels more complete and more professional that you have that as well. And then if you blow up overnight, you're already established on another platform as well. Different platforms have different rules about verification. YouTube has a very specific subscriber count that they look for. Twitter looks for a holistic approach. So you might be able to get verified on Twitter before being verified on YouTube. And so again, you could become an expert at it later, but lock down your username today. Tie it in today so that it's there. And that you form those linkages. Once you click Channelytics, it keeps wanting to come back. So again, similar to what I was saying with the previous channel review, judging from your subscriber count and the lack of social links, unless you're big on Discord or somewhere that you haven't mentioned yet, I don't see the value in putting your channel name on here. I understand there's something to be said for some consistency. I see, like, here you're using red, and the banner you're using red, not so much in the profile. I think the profile's a little better, personally, for the text. And so I'd almost duplicate that text in the banner, possibly. But I don't know that it's gaining you much here. Further, you have these YouTube logos in here. Everybody knows this is YouTube. And let's say not. Let's say that there's you're on some website and there's one video that is on YouTube and one that's hosted on Vimeo. Are you gonna click the one on YouTube because it's YouTube, or for another reason? The thumbnail's better. It looks more interesting. I haven't seen that video yet. I know that guy. Whatever it is. I don't think identifying the fact that it's YouTube gets you anything. Because again, we're trying to get the casual audience. We're trying to get the strangers. We're trying to get the lazy people. Because they'll, hey, think about it this way, about that whole lazy people. It might sound like an insult. It's really not meant that way. Let's say that you get like some lazy people watching your channel. Why is that a good thing? Well, lazy people are probably going to keep to what they already know than trying to find something new. because they're lazy. They're not going to go looking for your competition. They already found you. Lazy people are great. Get them. Keep them forever. So yeah, I don't think having these YouTube logos helps you any. There's also this logo here. It's kind of like a, I don't know, a basketball or something. I don't know what that's all about. Again, I don't play these games, so maybe this means something to the fans of these games. I don't know. It just feels like it's cluttering the image. And when the image gets cluttered with these smaller things that don't convey useful or compelling information, it feels a little less professional, unfortunately. Don't be afraid of a little white space. Don't be afraid of, you know, like here, you've got something behind the time code on these three, and this one over here. This one over here looks pretty cool. I like that. Logitech Logistics, and how it's right above the time code. That's cool. I like that effect. That's nice, that one. But also, these are the same image. Euro Truck Simulator 2, MPENG 18+. So, if I'm trying to decrypt this code that you have here, I would guess that MP is multiplayer, ENG indicates that this is English, and 18+ indicates that there's some mature content. That is my guess. I think I'm right, but I might not be. A couple things about that. For one, you have a space after the open parentheses. Don't do that. Eliminate that space. It doesn't look professional. The fact that your title is in English, the logo is in English, the text on the thumbnail is English. Assuming ENG means English, it's a safe bet this is English. I know there are people out there, and boy, there are days when I want to strangle them. Not maybe a little Bart Simpson. Not really. I don't condone violence. I don't participate in violence, but I kind of feel it. Slap them a little. I just want, you know what I do? I want to grab them by the lapels and shake them, shake the hell out of them, because oftentimes people will post in our Facebook group, and there'll be a thumbnail with some English on it, and the title will be English, the description will be English. What they write on the post will be all English, and it's a video that looks interesting to me. And so I take the time to click on it and watch it, and suddenly it's not English, and there's no English to be found anywhere. And that's incredibly misleading. I think YouTube, I mean, I don't know how YouTube handles misleading content with regards to that sort of thing, but I think they should bloody well treat it as misleading, because it's as misleading as if you put a picture up of, I don't know, Kate Upton, and then the whole video was about Penn and Teller. It would make no sense. It would be totally misleading. So I would probably still watch because I like Penn and Teller, but the point is that it's misleading, right? And so I know there are people out there who do that. Don't let those negative actors make you feel like you have to declare your channel as English with a code when all the signs point to it being English, assuming I'm accurately figuring out what that is. The 18+, yeah, that might be fair as a warning or something to people. That can be okay if there's like salty language or adult, you know, material or subject matter being discussed. I don't know about MP in terms of SEO and searchability. 2 letters is problematic. So what I would recommend is Euro Truck Simulator 2 multiplayer, and then in parentheses 18+. That's what I would retitle that to. And then if you could further be more specific, because you have 2 videos here with the identical titles. Now, I'm not great about that myself. My live streams, and these were live streams, I can tell, often have the same titles. I try to go back and add like the date to them or something to make them a little unique, if for no other reason than I can tell one from the other. But that's just something to think about. And, you know, if you wanted to put some text on this, you do have like this space above the truck that could be utilized. Logitech Logistics. I'm curious about that. It's cool, like, name. It's alliterative. I like Logitech equipment. I'm using an OSDOM. How do you even say that? Webcam right now. I've got a link down below, but honestly, this webcam I don't highly recommend. And it's 1080 though. But I used to have a Logitech 720. My kid kind of has it now as a hand-me-down. My Logitech works better than this thing, or at least it used to. So I like Logitech. you know, in terms of equipment for YouTubing, I am using my Fine microphone right now and my $10 pop filter. There are affiliate links down below for Amazon US. If you want a really good microphone, low cost, $35 for the microphone, $10 for the pop filter. It's $45 and it works great. I've taken it all over North America, thrown it in suitcases, treated it like trash, and it looks and performs as good as the day I got it. Those I recommend. This webcam, not so much. You can constantly want to check the lens to see if there's dirt on it. I'm like, no, that's just the quality of the image. Anyways, that was a sidebar, but I really enjoy Logitech products. You know, at least their webcam's pretty solid. And so Logitech kind of like, oh, logistics, curious, right? But that is really hard to read here. You've got this as a teal color on green. Green is part of teal. So again, for this one here, drop the Mr. Sykes. Maybe make the font a different color, black or white, or I don't know, something. Make it a little bit larger. And maybe take this American truck logo thing and pop it over to the other side so it's not being covered by the time code. DIY USB button box for PC. Again, this thumbnail's not great, but, you know, you could just put DIY USB right here in this, on this, like, brown table space. That would at least communicate what it's about better. And again, capitalization and stuff like that. Like, you put a period after the D and the I, but not the Y, and then you don't capitalize USB. I would just type it out as all caps DIY space USB with no periods. That's what I would do, and then go from there. Just little things like that can kind of make a difference with searchability and professional appearance. So you got your popular uploads and your uploads. That's great. Do you have playlists? Please have playlists. Yay, we have playlists. Cool. Saved playlists. Best rock music, alternative rock music. I'm guessing these are not your content. If that's the case, I wouldn't bother showing them here. And so you got... Let's just assume that this is not your content for a moment, because that doesn't look in line with the other stuff you're doing. Let's assume that this is your content. NC? Are you kidding me? What the hell is that? Is North Carolina? What are we talking about? Like, there's no N anywhere here. American Truck Simulator, Multiplayer, Farming Simulator, Simulator Multiplayer, Euro Truck. There's no N's. There's no C's at the beginning of any of these words. Mr. Sykes Gaming. There's no N's or C's. What the hell is NC? That could be anything. I mean, I'm guessing that's a game? I don't know. Couldn't tell you what game. Come on. So when you title things, including playlists, it's important too. It should be whole words whenever possible, so that they'll come up in search. And you want to have descriptions for your playlists as well. So you've got 3 videos of yours in playlists. Oh, wait, no, here. I keep clicking the wrong thing. You have a lot more than 5 videos. So again, I want to stress one more time, every video should be in a playlist. Farming Simulator 17. Oh, look, 17. You've got 17. So I'm thinking Farming Simulator, drop that 19 because it's more than just 19. Future-proof yourself. You don't want to be updating your banner every year when a new game comes out. I don't think. So you should have a Farming Simulator 17 playlist. You should have a GTA 5 playlist. And again, it's the easiest thing. You just search, and then you click on the thing, and you go save to playlist and select the playlist. It's just that easy to build your playlists. When you do that, you're signaling to the algorithm, hey, you know, because like right now, what confidence does the algorithm have that this is GTA 5 right here? 27 views. Maybe. It's not caps, so that's not great because that's, you know, it's Grand Theft Auto, GTA. Each word should be each letter should be capital. But if it's in a playlist that's GTA 5, and the playlist description mentions Grand Theft Auto 5, and the description of the video mentions Grand Theft Auto 5, you say Grand Theft Auto during the video, you caption the video such that it's in the text. People comment about how they love Grand Theft Auto 5, and then you reply saying, yes, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the greatest. All those instances of the phrase Grand Theft Auto 5, or GTA 5, or however you express it, builds confidence in the algorithm. And that is when you start to achieve something that I call keyword alignment. When you get all those ducks in a row, then you got a very powerful army of ducks. That metaphor fell apart, but I think you get the idea. And playlists are part of that. So the playlist title, playlist description, further increases the confidence. The more confidence the algorithm has that it knows what you're about, the more likely it'll show it in recommended to other people and in search results. These are good things. Let's see here. Let's hit the channelytics maybe. Since it's like a little yappy dog. Pay attention to me. Not a lot of spikes in views. A couple little spikes in subscribers, 22nd and 26th. Looks like you've put out one video in a month. Oh, these are uploads. 4 weeks ago, 1 month ago, 1 month ago, 1 month ago. So it looks like you haven't done much with your channel in about a month. So I can understand like this here. This looks like it's, you know, a video of an actual real life piece of equipment. So opportunities to film in the days of this unnamed virus is problematic. I appreciate that. We're in a travel channel. I get it. I haven't been on vacation in some time. I was on the Carnival of Vista in early February where I survived that earthquake. If you're curious about that, check the Vacation Impossible podcast. I'll tell you all about it. Since then, not so much with the travel for me. Grounded. Got my wings clipped. But like here, this looks like it's in your kitchen. And since there are these gaming things, if you're able to, and I said this before for another channel review, but if you're able to produce one video per week, then that means you'll always have a video with that new tag, because the new tag lasts for a week. So let's talk about the time frames that are important in videos. When you upload a video, the first hour, the first day, and the first week are all critically important. After that first week, less ability to influence things. So the first hour is, what do they call it? View velocity. And that's those people who just like, they just can't wait. They can't wait. They're going to watch whatever it is right away. They're just like, you know, they're the yappy dog at the door. Give me a video. Give me a video. Treats, walkies. And so what you get in the first hour is really important because it gives a sense of this view velocity. And that's the first sign that the algorithm has that it might have a hit on its hands. And so if you're getting like 100 plus views in that first hour, the algorithm's going to be like, I got to show this to some people. We might be getting some more watch time out of this, and that's good for me. I'm anthropomorphizing the algorithm here. The first 24 hours is also important because that is view velocity, but accounted for time zones. So now, like, what if you're big in Japan and you're on the west coast of Canada like I am? So they might be asleep when you publish, depending on when you publish. And so they might have notifications turned on, click the bell, set it to all, like you did for this channel, right, everybody? And click like on this video, please and thanks. Sell out. So the thing about that is that that accounts for all time zones. And so, and when people are working, when people are sleeping. And so within the first 24-hour period, your true fans have a great likelihood that they'll be able to have watched your video. So they got those notifications on and they can't wait. And so that's why the first 24 hours is really important. So again, get more than, say, 100 views in your first 24 hours, the algorithm's like, hey, we might have a hit on our hands. You know, show some people. Then you've got the first week. And so for the first week, it gives it that new tag, and you'll see that come up when it's like in the recommended bar or in search results. Might look different on different devices. But the thing is that, okay, yeah, there's that velocity, but there's also... it's still trying to get to know your video, especially if like your channel, or if it's a different kind of video for you, or whatever the reason, and there might not even be a reason. The algorithm's still trying to learn about your video. In an hour, it's not going to know your CTR very well. In 24 hours, it's still kind of not going to really know, like, you know, does this really resonate with people over the age of 60? The algorithm only showed it to 3 people over the age of 60. It doesn't know, right? So many different things. We've shown it to his subscribers, and some of them clicked on it, some didn't. I gotta figure this out. So for a week, it will show your video to more people to give it a good sample size. Oh, okay, so the 13-year-olds really seem to like it. I gotta get some more 28-year-olds and see if they like it. Oh, all the 50-year-olds didn't click on this, you know. All the people in the southern United States had no interest in this, but the North really liked it, or whatever. The Belgians love this, you know, like whatever. So it takes about a week for it to show it enough opportunities that it starts to gather this data and give everyone an opportunity to watch it, give people commenting opportunities, figure out the engagement, likes, dislikes, who subscribes while watching the video, all this sort of information, and more than we would ever know because they like to keep it secret, like the Colonel's secret recipe. It's crunching this data and it's figuring it out, but after 7 days, It's had that first hour, it's had that first day, and it's had that first week. It's shown it to a decent sample size of people across different, different age groups and locations and whatever other metrics it might use. Nobody really knows. But after that week, then it says, okay, I think I know what this video's about. Its CTR is like 0.001%. This video's trash. Nobody wants to watch it. I ain't showing that to anybody. That makes me look bad. I'm anthropomorphizing again. Or the CTR on this is like 6% or 20% or 50% or some insane 30% number or something. People love this, particularly when they show it to them at nighttime or whatever. And so that's like the completion of its first impressions, right? And you know how it's really hard to make you only get one chance to make a first impression? So there are things you can do after that week if you think that it's gotten the wrong impression about you. Sometimes videos pick up years after they've been published. Sometimes just because things happen. That's like my Leninade review video that I mentioned earlier. In its first 2 years, 3 years or something, it got 34 views. The algorithm was like, whatever, and something happened. After about 3 years, it started to get like 10 views a month for a little while, and then 10 views a week, and it started picking up some traction. And it came out of nowhere. I think maybe there was a commercial or somebody was curious about the product. They searched it. I still owned the search results because my SEO on that video was actually pretty strong, largely by accident. It was before I discovered TubeBuddy, so I was assing around in a fog. I didn't know what I was doing. I just got lucky on that one. But then it started getting traction again. So people started commenting. And so part of it is like that review is like I'm kind of doing like a comedy soda review in sort of like the style of like a communist or something, and so people would reply in humorous ways, right? Because they were like, oh, he's funny, I want to make a funny comment, right? And then I would come back with something, yeah, and so I'd be like, yes, comrade, or something, like whatever, depending on what they reply. And so the engagement was going up. And because it was funny, some people found it funny, they clicked like, and so it got that engagement up, and then the algorithm started to pick it up. But that process took a long time. That took years. And it was an organic thing that happened. I forgot about that video until I started seeing it in some of my analytics, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? What's happening here? Oh god, that video? The lighting on that was so bad. I was wearing this Indiana Jones hat that made me look like such an idiot. What was I? I was on a train trip, and I was by myself. I was bored and lonely. I made this stupid video. Oh my god, people are watching that? And then I rewatched it, and it was actually kind of funny, because I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of like modern vlogs. I felt really kind of like ashamed after I published it, but I'm like, that's kind of what people do now. Maybe that's why it's kind of picking up. I don't know. That's strange. So that's one of the ways. And then another way that you can get that second impression is by going in and updating your thumbnail. So I've given a lot of thumbnail advice today. For whatever reason, it's just where I landed. But I do want to put an important caveat on there. So I hope the people that were watching when I was giving them thumbnail advice are still around. Because tweaking title, description, tags, and thumbnail, the algorithm kind of goes like, whoa, hold on, what's going on here? So if you have a sense of momentum, and one easy way that I use, pause, I'm stopping the clock here, that's my half hour. I'll just finish this thought and then get back to chat. But one of the metrics I use, because I like numbers, they're sometimes an easy way to gauge things. That you can set them as a reminder. Like, I have a video on Vacation Impossible, what's a good price for a cruise? And so I set like a dollar amount. I say everything above that is not a great deal. Everything below it's an amazing deal. There you go. Go out into the world. And so for this, I think that if you're getting more than 100 views per month, then I would leave it. It has the potential to pick up steam at any moment. It has enough algorithmic momentum that could become something. Now, that is for channels of all stripes. Some of you are watching and being like, 100 views in a month would be amazing for me. And other people are like, 100 views, Ray? Are you kidding? That's tiny. I think that it's a good metric regardless, because it's just enough that it's still alive in the algorithm. Anything less than 100, that's where you can be like, all right, I'm going to play with this a little. Maybe I'll do some A/B testing using Legend TubeBuddy. Or I'll punch up the thumbnail, I'll listen to Ray's advice, and I'll move that logo away from the time code, and I'll increase the vibrance and those other things that Ray was talking about. I'll properly capitalize the title and the description and everything. Because when you do that, the algorithm's like, whoa, hold on. Maybe we misunderstood this video. Maybe that person titled it wrong. Let's take another look. Now, it won't take another look in the same way that it did in that first week, though. It won't give you the new tag, and it won't show you to a bunch of people. But it will be like, well, hold on, maybe we misunderstood. So if you want the algorithm to have that moment of, well, hold on, you don't want it to do that at a time when it's promoting the video. If it's already showing your video to people, again, even if it's just getting 100 views a month, that's probably enough to leave it alone. Like, if you want to add end cards or info cards or share it on social media, that's fine. But don't mess with the title, thumbnail, or description or tags. If it's getting 100 views or more a month, just let it be. But because then it could be like, hey, yeah, we're showing this everywhere, and like, hey, check out this video, and it's like, wait a minute, it might not be about what we thought. I'm gonna put that in a drawer. You don't want that happening, you know, and be like, oh, well, I need to think about that some more. Maybe I don't want to show that. You don't want to do that to yourself. I've done it to myself. I learned the hard way. But if it's less than 100 views per month, then feel free to tool with it. That having been said, experimentation is fine, but you got to give the algorithm time. From what I've read and seen and experienced myself, in order to get it's that same equivalent of that first week where it has the new tag, where the algorithm shows it to people and gathers that data, for another go-round where you edit the title, thumbnail, description tags, that takes like 6 months. Because it's not giving you that benefit of the doubt. But it will be showing it a little bit here and there and slowly gathering that data and revising its opinion of your video. So if you are looking at changing the title, thumbnail, description, and tags, don't change them so frequently. Because if you're doing it more than once every 6 months for any particular video, then the algorithm could come along and be like, okay, I got to start over and figure this out again. Oh, I got to start again. Oh, I got to start again. Oh, I got to start again. One of those might have worked, but if you didn't give it like a good 6 months for it to actually gain some traction, you never would have seen it in your analytics, and you wouldn't have given it. You could have come up with the most perfect title, description, and tags and thumbnail in the world, and then retooled it too quickly before it had a chance to perform. So that's something to be aware of. I think I might be capping channel reviews, just because it's getting a little bit on in the day. The Saturday show is always more popular than the Sunday show, and so that was the 3.5 hour one. This is probably going to be closer to 2 hours, but let's just see what's going on in chat. I will not be upset at anyone if they gave it to me because I muted myself for like 9 minutes, like a chump. I do once again apologize for that. That was stupid. I'll own that one. Let's see here. People were saying I was sounding good. That's how far back this goes. Camezoid Gaming. Hey, I made it to the live stream. Hey, everyone. Sophie Cronin said hi. Jamie Rondina Jr. Hello, everyone. Yeah, they're helping with sound check. The Sim Hub was saying hello, everyone. Jai Mehta was here, who has wanted a channel review many, many times, but hasn't actually been here at the right time quite yet. That's a hard question. I love the logo. Stands out. Brickworld Therapy. So, they say thank you to Brickworld Therapy. I feel privileged. I usually miss your streams. Hope everyone is safe and well. Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing my family is doing fairly well. I think my personality is well suited to quarantine. A lot of people are like, oh, what generation am I? Gen X? I don't know. They change it. Sometimes I'm a millennial. Sometimes I'm Gen X. I think these days I'm Gen X. They keep moving the goalpost. And they were like, they called us all latchkey kids, which I wasn't exactly, but like I grew up in the era of the NES and Super Nintendo and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, you're gonna have to stay home a lot, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to stay home with all my video games. Oh no. Oh, and my computer too, and my books, and my YouTube, and my Netflix and stuff. Jeez, what am I gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get caught up on my reading. So I think I have a personality that's well suited to isolation, oddly, and so I think I've been doing okay. My Vacation Impossible channel's been kicked in the teeth. It was making $150 a month in January, February, December. Now it's making like $25. It's not about the money, but that's just the easiest thing I can point to because the views are down, the CPMs are down, the interactivity is down, everything is down. It's been picking back up a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but I think it's going to be until next year before it comes back. So that kind of sucks. But Small YouTubers Boost has been going like gangbusters in terms of the Facebook group. So that's been kind of exciting watching that community grow. I missed yesterday's stream. Congrats on the group getting to 250k members. The mod team is awesome too. I strongly agree. That's our balloons from yesterday, the 250. I wanted to have a K right there, but they didn't have any Ks in the store. And I totally forgot about our helium balloons yesterday. So there are those there. Let's see here what's going on in chat. Love how the channel reviews aren't 100% content based. I'm not entirely certain I understand what that means. I guess it's like, I try not to criticize what people are making, because there's 7 billion people in the world, and there's probably an audience for everything to some degree. So yeah, I try not to be too critical of the content, partly because I can't watch the videos because of the rules I set for myself, for, you know, timing and privacy, or not privacy, but you know, copyright. Yeah. So how to apply for channel review? I've been on YouTube for over a year, and I'll be honest, I'm struggling with it. I'd love to have some feedback. It's up to you. So yeah, if you want a paid channel review, you can reach out to me on Facebook or Twitter with a direct message. It's pretty reasonable. It's like the cost of 2 fast food lunches. I'll do a review that'll last 45 to 60 minutes. I'll give you action items that you'll be able to do things based on. I'll upload it here on this channel. You can rewatch it as many times as you want. Hopefully other people will find it useful as well, and might give you a little bit of exposure that way. But for the free ones, that's normally based chronologically in chat. I cap those at 30 minutes. Only during the live streams. I think I'm probably done with channel reviews for today. I did a few already. And that's how that goes. Unfortunately, I don't know when the next live stream will be. I don't have anything on the books right now. But if the paid option isn't working for you, that's totally fine. Subscribe with notifications on. Click the bell with all. Follow us on Twitter so that you can join us nice and early, and then you can hopefully get a free review. It's a little bit random. Learned so much from my channel before I even got a review. Just ask for one in chat. Goes through chat order. Earlier the better. Just mention that you want a review. Yeah. Sophie Cronin wanted a review. Hopefully the things that I talked about with the other channel reviews resonate with other people as well, and that you can pick some things up from that as well. Yeah, again, paid reviews. You can message me. We can work something out. Twitter notified me. Twitter notified me of the live because YouTube refuses to let me know. It didn't tell you again, hey? Jeez, I just. Do the reviews here cost money? Not during the lives. During the lives, they're free, but they're capped at 30 minutes. And they're kind of random as to who gets them. It's about who speaks up first. But unfortunately, my chat doesn't always display the messages right, so there's a bit of a chance to mention to it. I got a YouTube notification, but I get notifications of people I've never heard of. YouTube! And these ones are free. Good to know. I'm struggling with money at the moment, and I don't mind waiting my turn. And so a big thing for people who are struggling with money right now, a couple of free tools that you can use. I'm TubeBuddy. Get even just the free version. The link in the description. Get the browser plugin. It will make a huge difference for you. It gives you access to things like Channelytics, Videolytics, tag suggestions, tag rankings, best practices, checklists. Like, it's not full function, but it'll be enough to make, potentially, if you don't have it already, can make a huge difference for your channel. And then maybe someday in the future, you know, after you're monetized or something, it'll just be, you know, the cost of doing business if you want to do an upgrade on that. Another thing, Social Blade I mentioned and showed you earlier. That's a way you can look at some future projections for your channel. They're not perfect. It's a mathematical extrapolation, but it's still kind of fun. I like to look at it and then try to beat those projections. It can be a little motivating for me. In terms of other free resources on this channel, we've got, you know, videos. I got, you know, Photoshop tutorials, TubeBuddy tutorials. I have a couple videos about search engine optimization, how to write effective tags and descriptions. I'm going to have one coming soon. Or no, titles and descriptions. The tag one I need to film. So those are some free resources. If you need music and sound effects, you can get a free month with Epidemic Sound. There's a link down below. Every video you upload during your free month, you own the rights to in perpetuity. So that month, at least, is free. Audacity is a piece of software that allows you to do noise reduction or record audio. That's 100% free. And if you can join our Facebook group if you haven't already, facebook.com/groups/smallYoutubersBoost. We have a lot of resources there. It's a great community. You can find people to collaborate with, share your successes, your frustrations, ask for technical advice, ask for, you know, tips, reviews, help other people. We've built some units that include, I was mentioning Audacity a moment ago. I actually have step-by-step instructions as to how to do noise reduction. I put that in one of the units. So there's there's quite a few free resources out there. There's good paid ones as well, but those are just some of the free ones that I recommend. Here's the video of the review of Branded Veteran posted on the channel. Yeah, so that was my first paid review, which was pretty cool. And so that was I had this thing where I was doing 4 or 5 days of live streams. I was doing consultations and I was doing paid channel reviews and stuff. And so that was my first paid channel review there. So far, I've only done one. But also some people prefer it to be more private. And so if you want one-on-one consultation, then we can talk about some sort of paid option for that as well. The reason I'm not mentioning prices right now is it's kind of based on my availability. So I don't want to throw out a number and then 3 years from now, somebody rewatch this live stream and be like, can you do that? When, you know, it's somewhat based on my schedule. So that's just a thing. Supply and demand, you know. Gonna watch some other streams after this one. Yeah, and all of my live streams are here. This one will also be rewatchable. I'm learning a lot from these reviews. It's not even my channel. That's totally a big part of it. That's a big part of why we do it. Thanks for the channel review last night, says Andrew J. Smith. It really helped me out, and I made the changes suggested. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that you had posted on Twitter about that as well. I think I might have seen something in the post-review queue for the group as well, but I didn't get to it yet. Maybe a mod has, I'm not sure, but I'm glad that you found that useful and that it gave you some action items. There's nothing like having a concrete thing to do. I gotta tell you, when I first encountered Simon Sinek, I watched his YouTube video, his TED Talk. It's like the second most watched TED Talk of all time, about something called The Golden Circle. I've also got his book, Start With Why. Simon Sinek, probably more than anything, was my experience where I was watching a YouTube video or I was reading his book, and I had to stop immediately, bookmark in, book down, pause the video, open a new window, and immediately make a change to my channel. Because it inspired or informed or deepened my understanding of people. About what people identify with, what they care about, how to sell yourself, how to explain what you're all about. And so some of those things out there, I love that moment where you're like, oh my God, I have to do something right now. This can't wait one more minute. This is easy. Now that I've been exposed to the idea, now that I've heard about TUBEBUDDY, now that I've, you know, watched this video or whatever, I'm like, wait, this is easy. I can go do that. I just have to do it once and it'll be there forever. Those moments are great. And if I can give you a moment like that, then, man, that's a great feeling. Let's see. Off to bed now. Hope you all learn a lot from Ray. See y'all on Facebook. How long do each of the reviews last? The free one's capped at 30 minutes. The paid one, 45 to 60, depending on the complexity of your channel. Yeah, this was a new thing this weekend. I used to just go on and on with my channel reviews, and I would like ignore chat for too long. People would lose their minds. They were like, Ray, you can't spend 45 minutes on one channel. And I'm like, but it applies to so many people. And so it's sort of like a compromise. It's the supply and demand problem. I think capping myself at a half hour is not bad. You know, it also keeps me from just going too far down the rabbit hole. One review per live stream. No, it depends on how long the live stream is. So I think I did, what, 3 this time? It's not that bad. Necromantic Water. God, I mangled that. Again, contact me for a paid review, but the free ones are... Yeah, he usually gets about 3 in. Depends on how much time. Yeah. How does this work? Do I just request? Yeah, unfortunately, we're just closing that for now. Going to bed. Hopefully this keeps... Yeah. Yeah, and so all the streams will be watchable later. YouTube just has to do some processing. It's an automatic setting. So soon as I end the live stream, YouTube automatically does whatever processing is, and then as soon as that's complete, it's available for rewatching. It normally takes, I think, 20 to 40 minutes. Oh, somebody was offering to help somebody else with channel art. That was nice. My one thing about people who are offering for channel art assistance is please be abundantly clear if it's free. Some people say by donation, but then they get really upset when they don't get a donation. Or sometimes they do it and then they demand payment when no payment was agreed upon. So my recommendation is whenever you're dealing with something like that, and it's not like a service or business that has listed prices, be abundantly clear on both sides of that agreement, transaction, whatever, what you are agreeing to, so that people don't have disputes or disagreements or whatever afterwards. Because... You know, even if it happens in our Facebook group, we are not arbitrators. We're not, mediators or anything. You know, it's caveat emptor, you know, use at your own risk kind of thing. And so if you're looking for products and services, things like that, that we have vetted as the leadership team, I myself have vetted really, then you'll find those in the announcements and the units in the Facebook group. And you also see links in these broadcasts in the description. Those are things I've vetted. So like I've tried TubeBuddy. I've been using it since August of 2018. You know, I've you know looked into Epidemic Sound, and I've used their sound effects, and I use the PlaceIt graphics on this channel and Vacation Impossible. And so when you know a ViralStat, I've used ViralStat for like I don't know a year at least now, probably longer. So like the things that I've got linked down below, I you know I can vouch for. But for other things, they have not been vetted necessarily. There used to be a graphic design service that I endorsed, but then their business practices changed, and I can't endorse them anymore. So I don't have anyone I recommend for like static graphics at the moment. But if you're looking for animation, PlaceIt's really good. If you want like an intro or an end screen, or just like interstitial graphics, something like how you manage a list, it's great because they've got like tons of templates. It's not just YouTube. They got like Instagram and tons of other stuff. But you can easily upload your picture to be in the template, or change the text or even the color scheme of it. And it's very easy to use. It looks very professional. So PlaceIt's not free, but with the link down below you can save 15%. If you do like a year at once, I think it works up to like a little less than 13 bucks a month or something. It's not unreasonable. Don't hold back on my channel review. Yeah, he doesn't hold back, but he is polite. It's that Canadian thing. I'm like the savage Canadian. It's like, yeah, I'll tell it to you straight because I don't have time to be like dance around it, but yeah, I try to be sensitive to people's feelings. Lufta Begum says hi. How do you make a video? You're not answering my question. He says immediately thereafter. He or she says immediately thereafter. That's funny. How do you make a video? Oh, hi. You're not answering my question. Wow, that was quick. I mean, I don't have time codes here, so I don't know like how long they waited, but wow. Okay. How do you make a video? That is such a high-level, broad question. I'm not entirely certain how to answer that. I think that, well, I mean, you record something. And so you might be using the camera on your phone. I do often. This Sony Xperia records in 4K. Sometimes the sound sync gets off a little bit, which is frustrating, but the image quality on this is amazing. And so I use that. I have two GoPros. I have a GoPro Hero 3 Plus Silver and a GoPro Hero 4 Plus Black that I use. The 4 Black has taken some damage on the casing, but it's still working. I've had those for a few years. They still get great image quality. So, I mean, if you've got a low budget, I actually have a video here on the channel where I say, like, you know, go get an old used GoPro, especially if you're just starting out, rather than getting the latest thing, because it can still get amazing image quality. I have a Canon I forget what the model number is that I use, Canon camcorder. I have a Nikon DSLR that I use. We got that secondhand. It was actually a gift. But that has a limit. I only can record 10 minutes of video at a time. So, you know, actually, I have it right here. I just realized. So we got this used because this is my first ever DSLR. And I was really intimidated by DSLRs at first. So this is a Nikon D3300, 3300, I guess. So you can see, what's that model number? Model number's on this side, I see. So anyways, this is my DSLR that I use. And so we got the second hand. This is pretty cool. And so it takes amazing pictures at a really high resolution, and the video quality is pretty good. It's a little tricky trying to figure out, like, initially how to get it to record and stuff, but I watched some YouTube videos. So I use a DSLR as well. And then my Vacation Impossible channel, oh, and also I've got the webcam that is linked down below. My Vacation Impossible channel is an ensemble channel, so I travel with a variety of people, and they all bring their own equipment. So, like, Sam has an original model GoPro that he still uses. He's also got something called a replay, which is like a little 720p pen camera. We may have taken that on a ride or two in Vegas at the Stratosphere that maybe we shouldn't have. And so, like, different people in my team have different cameras they bring. And so thankfully they send their files to me, and then I'm able to edit various things together. So yeah, we record that way. In terms of what I'm doing right now for screen capture, I'm using OBS. I'm using vanilla original free OBS, and I just figured out how to do a couple, you know, slightly fancy things like my little scrolling text up there, which I'm very proud of. There's a recent upgrade and addition to the channel for these live streams, as well as adding chat right up here. That's a new one for this weekend as well, that and the scrolling text. So I'm very excited that that worked fine. So I'm happy I was able to test that out and learn about that. So that's sort of how I capture like the video. The audio, a lot of those devices capture audio as well, but for sound, I generally use my Fine microphone, which I have linked down below. I also have a Blue Snowball that I use. Whether I'm using the Fine or the Blue Snowball, I use this $10 pop filter, which is also linked down below. So that you can get some of the harsher sounds to be softened and you're not spitting on the microphone, things like that. Makes a huge difference. When I first started using the Fine without the pop filter in these live streams, people lost it on me on chat, and they were right to do so. So that's generally how I record audio. I tried a lav mic, but it was trash. You can actually watch on this channel where I tested the lav mic, and it was like, it will give you a headache. I actually don't recommend you watch that video. It's like the ultimate don't click here, but I actually mean it. I'm not using reverse psychology because it's trash. But people told me that it works for them. So I got a couple others of them. I'll test them out in the future. But so that's for recording sound. That's generally what I use. I edit using Adobe Premiere Pro. I've been using that since 2001. When it was like version 2.0 or whatever, and so I've gone through the various iterations. For thumbnails, I use Photoshop like 95% of the time, but every now and then I actually use TubeBuddy's thumbnail creator, which you can use with the browser plugin, which is pretty cool. So I use that from time to time as well. So I suppose that like so I take the files, I put them into the editor, I edit them, I render it. Now, since November, when I was in Vegas with Ace, I've gone to 4K renders since then. So I render it 4K. Then I upload it to YouTube. And if you want to know more about that uploading process, I have a video on this channel about how TubeBuddy helps you with uploading. And so while I'm talking about TubeBuddy, I'm also walking you through the upload process. So that's a really broad question. Hopefully I answered it in some way. I'm sorry I didn't answer quickly enough for you. But, you know, very simple rush, you know, sketch of that's making a video. Some people do scripting and stuff like that. My travel channel doesn't do that because we film while we travel. So that's all sort of gonzo filming or whatever it's called. A couple videos on this channel I have created scripts for, or just bullet points that I follow. My podcast, I have a list of topics, but it's not scripted. So that's how I operate. I almost never have a script. I'm comfortable speaking extemporaneously. I did improv comedy for 4 years. And so I'm comfortable doing that. But other people like having, you know, storyboards, and depends on the kind of content you're making. If you're doing stop motion animation or, you know, any animation, you probably need a script and storyboards and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a really broad question. How do you make a video? I don't know what I did wrong, or maybe it was I used a Google ad for a couple of videos a while ago, but my channel no longer shows up when searching. But sometimes my trailer does. That's interesting. That's like some SEO stuff there. Yeah. I'd need to know more about the channel to be able to answer that. My question, how did you make a video? How do you make a video? You hit the record button. Good answer, Operation Life. Seconded. It's just so broad. It's like, funny story time for you for a moment here. I used to work at an amusement park. And so oftentimes people would come into the amusement park, and during certain times of the year it operated differently. Like there's the Halloween event, and there's the annual fair, and then there's the other time. And so sometimes you pay for the ride separately, and sometimes you don't. So people would often come up and they were like, oh, do I need a ticket for the rides or whatever? But there was this one time I was feeling a little sassy, and this woman walks up to the information booth where I was working, and she looks around, she just gestures at everything. She's like, what is all of this? And so I'm like, well, it was like 6 billion years ago, a couple of amino acids combined to form the first protein, and eventually this led to the creation of life on Earth. And it became, started off with like single-cell parameciums and things like that, and amoebas and what have you, and eventually it worked up to greater levels of complexity, where you had multi-cell organisms, and this was mostly in Earth's oceans. Now at the time, you know, Earth was a single continent called Pangaea, and the oceans were everywhere, so things were able to travel, you know, without much impediment. Unlike today, we're getting from the Pacific to the Atlantic Ocean. It's a bit of a trick. And so, you know, eventually life got more and more complex as it grew, and eventually fish kind of got legs, which is weird, and so they climbed out of the ocean in terms of, you know, there was a mutation, and so it just begot more and more. I swear to God, I got all the way to the asteroid killing the dinosaurs before she stopped me, and she says, "No, no, no. How do I get on the rides?" Kind of relate to that question. How do I make a video? A video is moving pictures. Anyways, fun times, fun times. He doesn't focus on the chat when he reviews. That's true. I'm thinking about maybe getting a second monitor for chat, but I'm just worried it'd be too distracting. I'm not sure what the best way forward for that would be. How is he doing this? I'm so tempted to explain how sound waves work. How is he doing this? I'm using a webcam to capture my video. I'm using a fine microphone to capture my audio. Both are connected to my PC through USB connections. And the software OBS is combining all of that into one thing, along with a capture of my desktop. Well, not my desktop, but my web browser. It's combining that into a single stream that is going out in video form. I'm leaving now, he says, and then like emoji of being in a huff. That is very funny to me. I don't mean to pick on anybody, but hot damn. I think they were picking on me, so I think that's fair. There's a button at the YouTube app that you can select whether to upload a video or go live, and he selected that live option. Actually, that is a thing, but that's not quite what I did. And so yeah, you can do that. You can just click this this thing here, and you can go upload video, go live, or create a post. You only have create a post if you have more than 1,000 subscribers. That's your community tab. You can upload a video, or you could go live. But what you can also do if you use something like OBS is there's something called a stream key. And this is a collection of special characters that you put into the program. So when you open the program, you just click start streaming, and it uses that to connect to YouTube to start streaming that way without you actually having to go through the YouTube website. So that's actually how I did it. I clicked start streaming after I had set all that up. And I've tweaked and you know, enhanced it a little bit over the years. SimHub was asking for a review. Unfortunately, we've closed reviews for the day, but hopefully in a future live stream, or like I said, contact me for a paid option. I'm Hex says, hey, Lufta, it is not easy to do live video and follow the chat all the time. Learn some patience. I like you a lot, Operation Life. You're one of my favorites. Somebody retracted a message, which is probably something I'm thinking but not saying. How you make a vid or I'm leaving. Making demands. Like, wow. Explain to me everything about YouTube or I'm out of here, because me being here is just that important to you, total stranger doing stuff for free. Oh man, this is crazy. Yesterday I was attacked for not being fair, and now it's like I didn't answer his question immediately, so he left in a huff. Wow. I should be upset, but it's just hilarious to me for some reason. Let's see. Oh yeah, and Brickroll Therapy did answer the question. What is it again? How does he do these lives? I think I've answered that a couple times by this point. So yeah, OBS. It's relatively intuitive. There's some pretty good videos out there that show you how to use it that you can just kind of search. Lufta must be a troll. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. It could be a language barrier there or something. They were obviously frustrated, and I kind of feel bad for them in that sense, but there's a button on the YouTube app. Lets you select it. I'm not. Looks at mine. Just need a few pointers. Well, you did come up there, Mr. Sykes, so that's awesome. I did do that. Anyway. Okay, buy and some some fruit salad of letters there. Oh, maybe it's TYSM. Thank you so much, maybe. Feels a little sarcastic, but okay. You're welcome. Have a nice one. Operational Light Waves. I do hope he manages to do me a review soon. I need some tips for my channel. I like detailed tips like he is doing, and needs some constructive criticism. Yeah, so I think I've addressed that. We've closed the free ones. Contact me for paid options. I'm glad that he doesn't hold back. And that's the thing. Like, if I... just saw what Operation Life said. I'm going to hit that in a second. So yeah, I'm glad he doesn't hold back. That's the thing. Like, if I'm here and I'm just pussyfooting around and I'm being all polite and I'm like, oh, everything is wonderful and you're fantastic, then this was a waste of your time because it didn't give you anything to do. Constructive criticism, in my opinion, needs three components. The first one is it needs to be specific. So just saying you suck is not helpful. If it's like your banner art sucks, at least it's specific. Okay, I know what I need to work on, but that's not enough. The next piece is it needs to be prescriptive. It needs to tell someone what to do, give them an action item. So if I said something like, oh, you know, your banner art sucks, you chose a bad color, but if it was blue, it would be better. Now I've given you something you can actually work with, an actual suggestion to move forward. And the third piece is you can't demand that people do what you suggest. It has to be given freely. So if I come back a week later and your banner your channel banner art, whatever, hasn't changed, and I come at you for that, then that's not constructive criticism. If it's not specific, it's not prescriptive, and it comes with an expectation, then it's generally destructive, not constructive. And so those are sort of the metrics I try to hit as much as I can. And Operation Life quotes Spock, "Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end." Yes, that is very true. Sometimes there is a glitch in the chat. My messages didn't go through a few times. However, I'm not sure what your time zone is. It's only 3 p.m. here. My current time zone, it is 4:42. I'm going to wrap up before 5 because I'm hungry and I need dinner. So we're in the final stretch. He will be back. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, that's when I turned on my fan. Can't hear him. No sound. Muted. Audio. No sound. We can't hear you. Mic. No sound. Can't hear you. No sound. Sound. Oh, I feel so bad about that. Sending him a message on Facebook. Thank you so much. Sorry for what I said the other day. You're the best of the best. I've taken notes down and I'll make the changes right away. Love you so much. God bless you. Thank you, Jace. That is very nice. That makes me feel better. I'm glad that I'm not violating fairness anymore. Because yeah, I don't know. It was because I think that fairness is a value that I hold dear, and so being accused of not being fair was a little hard to hear, I will admit. So I'm glad that we kind of came to a nice place on that. That's good. Wow, it's another side of the world. Holy crap, Ray. I am so sorry. What are you doing? Ray. Let's learn to lip read. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad about that. Oh, my chat is scrolling without my permission. Oh wow, it looks like there was some drama in chat. Okay, let's see here. Okay, this is, yeah, my chat just went all crazy. This first stream I've watched of his, but I've learned a lot. It's very nice. When did Epic TV? Oh, Epic TV was threatening to leave. I'm doing captions. Perhaps man wasn't meant for paradise. Maybe he was meant to claw, to scratch all the way. What's that from? I don't think that's Star Trek. If it is, it's definitely the original series. Like This Side of Paradise or something. Could be original series episode. Not super strong in the original series. I'm weakest in Voyager. In critical moments, men sometimes see exactly what they wish to see. What is that from? It's good quotes, though. Life with Star Trek. Or, with the Star Trek quotes, really? He gets me. Changes the essential process of all existence. Busted. Okay, so yeah, this has got to be a lot of original series stuff. Without followers, evil cannot spread. That's definitely an original series quote. Got a sub from Twitter. The greatest danger facing us is ourselves, an irrational fear of the unknown. There's no such thing as the unknown, only things temporarily hidden, temporarily not understood. That is from the last Kelvinverse movie, I think. That is, what is it? Star Trek Beyond. Another Lego channel. Sure, has new sets that are coming. I want them. Lego coffee cup. Such a nerd. I opened a subreddit. Still don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes that's a good way to learn. Reddits are banned first, ask questions later. Sometimes it is. I mean, and honestly, in my Facebook group, when it comes to sub for sub and sexual harassment, we do that as well. And other forms of like blatant racism and stuff like that. But people can always message us afterwards. If there's been a misunderstanding, rarely is that the case with harassment. With sub for sub, it can sometimes prompt a conversation where they can learn. And if they renounce sub for sub, I let them back in. But yeah, with Reddit, it is just ban hammer is like, it's like their only tool. So everything is a nail. Reddit is stressful, too scared. Zero traction. I've been thinking about making an effort on Twitter, though. And that's the thing, is like, you got to consider your time investment. And so to invest in Twitter, you can do it at a very like toe in the water way with very little time. So even if it doesn't grow you a giant audience, the amount of time you spend on it is so minuscule, it just becomes part of your workflow. It's just click, 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 done. Then if it does happen to grow on its own one day, isn't that a great thing? One of the things that I often say about YouTube is YouTube's a bit like a lottery. And it's almost like every video is a lottery ticket. But the thing that's unique about YouTube is they're constantly drawing numbers, and your ticket is always valid. And so that can be true with like a multitude of social media platforms as well too. So like maybe one day you'll come to Twitter and you'll find that you've got a bunch of followers or something that might take off one day. So if it's a very small investment, then it might be worth doing. This is absolute gold. Thank you so much for the review. That's very nice. Vintage Brick, thank you. People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. From and that's funny because of my whole Vacation Impossible thing and all that. There are some straight Lego Reddits. I haven't shared videos yet, but posted some photos. Yeah, and that could drive engagement. Then they might ask, and then you could link to them as a response. That might be an appropriate way, depending on the rules. Every Reddit has its own rules, not unlike Facebook groups. He's in the UK, I'm in the US. I could always challenge him. Yeah. You don't have to do it like in real time, although that would be funny. That'd be like the Zoom call to end all Lego Zoom calls. I'm sick of following my dreams. I'm just going to ask where they're going and hook up with them later. You're like the French radical that looks out and says, oh, my people are all going somewhere. I must find out where they are going so I can go lead them. That's from The West Wing. Any of the Reddits that I found had a decent number of users, had policies against sharing YouTube videos or self-promotion. Yeah, that's true. And so sometimes it's about being part of a community, and maybe they'll ask and you can share at that point, or just finding a different Reddit that has rules that align with what you're wanting to do. I don't want to be that guy who self-promotes only and just ends up ticking people off. Yeah, well, and that's one of the things that I do. Like when I share on Reddit, like the videos I really truly care about, I try to make sure that like the small YouTubers boost what I share there from this channel is hopefully videos that help them. And in my travel videos that I share on Reddit, I try to share them in places that they provide value to people, and or this is more so on Facebook. When I post them in Facebook groups, I sometimes put the video as like the backstory for a question that I'm asking. So it's like, here's the new no smoking policy on Carnival cruises. Do you think this is true, draconian, or something? And so it'll often prompt a conversation that will sometimes give me an opportunity to see new perspectives. I might learn something. People might ask questions I can answer. Or I might just go through and use my videos as ways of bolstering answers to questions. So it's like, oh, you know, someone says, oh, how do I check in online for my cruise? I'm like, oh, you know, here's a quick answer if you want to watch a tutorial, and then there'll be my link. So it's about adding value and helping people rather than just mindless self-promotion, which is part of why we have the description rule in the group, so that people just don't post blind links. At the very least, they describe them, so that makes it more searchable and more likely to provide some values. People know what they're clicking on before they click on it, stuff like that. So you know, there's a lot of different groups and a lot of different subreddits that they all strike different balances, and hopefully you can find one in your niche that works for you. If not, maybe create your own. Before you marry a person, you should first make them use a computer with slow internet just to see who they really are. Man, I remember, you know, I had my 14.4 modem, 28.8, 33.6, 56K. When I had the 33.6 and everybody else had a 28.8, I was king of high school. I rocked the BBSs. Bit wary of being banned from subreddits as well. That's fair, but I mean, if you think about lasting consequences, they're not substantial. Can I get a channel review? I'm working on some things. Thumbnails. Yeah, I'm wrapping up, closing down in about 10 minutes or so. Should have tested your patience with your cell phone. I'm like afraid to look at my phone. Oh, I gotta place my dinner order. Sorry, I'm getting Olive Garden. I went from Olive Garden. Autocorrect. That's not how you spell ZD. Come on. ZD for heat at home. Fettuccine Alfredo. I don't know what she's asking. She knows what I like. Alfredo. Okay. Anything else going up on my phone that I need to know about? No, things are fine. Cool. All right, back to chat. Sorry about that. Blah, 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 blah. Skip your channel. I didn't skip your channel. I just didn't I ran out of time, unfortunately. I remixed to remixed. It was back to normal. Lesbians that love, channel review, please. Unfortunately, we are largely out of time. But again, contact me, Twitter, Facebook for a paid review, or just come back for a future live stream. And hopefully I can find the time to get to you. Glitches, yeah. All ears, thanks. Single greatest gift you could ever give to the world is to be exactly who you are. I like that. That's very true. It's true of YouTubers. Because, I mean, we're probably best at being ourselves. If we're trying to be anybody else, we're not as good at it. We're being fake. Filmed with my phone, and you never know. That's true. Some phones are amazing. I mean, I hate to admit it, but the camera on the iPhone's mind-blowing, and also on my Sony. But I don't think they make these anymore, at least not with my provider. I'm thinking about going to a Motorola next. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think I'm due for an upgrade in like a month, so I'm looking forward to an upgrade. Dream it, wish it, do it. There's more to it than that, but sometimes later becomes never. Do it now. I mean, that's one of the things that Andrew Matthews talks about. I haven't really mentioned him much in this live stream. Oh, almost dropped my DSLR. That would have been bad. Oh, come on. Everything's falling. Everything's falling. Okay. Anyways, Andrew Matthews. He talks about like. People often say, oh, I'll be happy when. And I think it's sadly true of YouTubers as well. It's like, oh, I'll be happy when I'm monetized. When I have 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers, 1 million views, whatever. Be happy now, because if you're miserable while you're making your channel, it will come across. And also, what if you never hit that? But you could be happy today. What if you will hit it? Be happy today and happy then. That's better. Utilitarianism. The greatest happiness for the greatest number of people over the greatest amount of time. Yeah, live streams have a lot of tips. Improvised. Okay, that's weird. Channel name. You can connect Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr to your Instagram account. Make one post. Yeah, that's actually very true. I have done that myself, and I use it. I try to use it judiciously. Welcome, you're welcome, Ray. I've got your back. It does offer paid reviews. These things. When will I be? Come on, please. Start work right away on my channel. Awesome. I make one word comment. What exactly are you asking for? I feel like I'm missing something. When can you check my channel, guys? How many I want to be? He will get to it when he gets to it. Patience is a virtue. Very true. And sadly, I might not get to it. There is a random chance element in here. I manage a group with 250,000 people, and so I am outnumbered. And I do like helping people, and I do what I can, but I can't get to it all, unfortunately. It's just a supply and demand thing. That's partly why I do these live streams, so you can watch me help other people that might help you as well. The instructional videos, the units in the group, all these other things. Penn and Teller are funny. They're smart, too. It was awesome when they were on the West Wing. I've seen them in Vegas at the Rio twice. Great rewatchability. But guys, enough of you, Epic TV. Chill. Guys, no buts. Just want to ask. You get muted if you don't give it a rest. Yeah, that's fair. Something to you. Don't know what that means. No way. You've asked a lot. Yeah, that's true. And that's the thing. Asking early, good. Asking repeatedly, not great. Does not improve your odds at all. I just want to ask something. Can you do with me? Oh, no. Now I see why all of his messages got removed. No, Epic TV. No. Yeah, banned is... Yeah, no, just no. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Sub for sub is a swear word. I like that. Yeah. Here for promo only. Yeah. That's not okay. So here's the thing. Sub for sub is a violation of YouTube's fake engagement policy. Will get your channel shut down. I've seen it happen 100 times. Hundreds of times, and it's heartbreaking because some people worked for their channels for years, and it all goes away because they cheated the system. So, no good there. Wow. There was, like, chat was super active today. Ray was so shocked when he said about like an American. No, that myth is not right. We don't live in igloos, and we say about like the word. Nobody says a boot unless you're talking about a boot. It is not a thing. Maybe in the far east coast or like really northern Ontario, maybe, but I don't think so. Timed out. Oh, that's cool. Didn't even know that was a thing. This is very educational for me. Epic is a bad YouTuber. Hey, if you're doing for sub, yeah, you're a bad YouTuber. I'll say that to your face. 2 a.m. here. Okay, you've had this Pobring Sano says that they had the channel for 5 years and only had 50 subs. Maybe vlogging is not my thing. I'm done with the cornyism. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Well, the thing is like my channel for like 10 years didn't get above like 34 subscribers. And then in, I think it was November of 2016, I just decided to start taking things seriously. And that's when I started joining Facebook groups, including Small YouTubers Boost, and trying to do everything I could to educate myself and just take it seriously. I said to myself, I'm tired of not being a success at YouTube. I don't know that I'm a success yet, but I think that I've come a long way in the intervening, 4 years, nearly. Learned a lot since then. And so don't let the numbers bring you down. Yeah. Isotope joined the party. Jake can play says, hey. Daily live streams again. It was just this weekend, just the Saturday and Sunday. It was because we hit the 250,000 and I had the opportunity. It was more so the opportunity. I don't have a PC, so I can't use TubeBuddy, sadly. They do have a mobile app. I think it's like $3 or something if you just get the app. Like if you have paid TubeBuddy, it includes the mobile app, and so that's what I have. But if you get the app just on its own, I think it's like $3 or something. I'm not sure. I think it's a one-time purchase, but again, I'm not. Don't quote me on it. So the mobile app's not bad. I used it for like optimizing and uploading things when I'm on cruises. Like I'm in a port in Mexico and I need to like update the tags. The mobile is great versus like the YouTube Studio for something like that. And it's got the topic planner. You can still do keyword research. The mobile app does quite a bit. It's got the milestones. I still prefer the browser plugin myself because I like this ergonomics and I think it has more functionality. But the mobile app still has a lot of value to it. I use it daily. Remember your why. Stay focused. Stay positive. Message Ray for an awesome channel review. Kids full videos. Has he done reviewing my channel? Sorry, I was away. I don't remember you being here. That name does not ring a bell. Highly recommend Ray's paid reviews. But is it only paid? Well, if you want it scheduled, then yeah, because then I have to take time out of doing other things to do that, and that's why that is. But the reviews I do during the live events are free, but capped at 30 minutes. After doing the edits of my videos, several of my videos now show up when searching for my name, but my channel itself doesn't. Check your channel tags, would be my advice. Yeah, not sure. And also, when doing the search, filter the search results so that it only shows channels, so that you're not also wading through videos. Those two things combined might help you find your channel. Schedules of paid reviews. You need to contact him for exactly how much they cost. Live streams are more random. Yeah, exactly. So 2 fast food meals, two fast food combos is approximately what a paid review costs for, give or take, depending on where you get your fast food. Don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're done. I like that. But at the same time, people need to take time for themselves. Okay, I need to get caught up here. Oh wait, maybe he's teaching about the planet. Story time. Ray cracks me up. I'm glad that this is entertaining. There's no other way to live stream. My mind is blown. Well, at least I know my name never popped up. Hopefully it'll update in a few. Yeah, that's possible. Olive Garden is the bee's knees. Who decided bee's knees were so great? Small YouTubers boot. Yeah, I think John from Stupid Robot Fighting League has made that joke a few times. Okay, I think I'm caught up on chat, so this was very exciting. So yeah, let's see. What should today's thing be? Because I like to end everything with like a challenge, something that you can do. All right, here we go. Let's try this. So, I am the creator, owner, whatever. Oh, weird. Sorry. So since I am the owner and creator, Vacation Impossible. I try to end all of these with a mission. So your mission, if you choose to accept it after this live stream, is to go to Social Blade and look up your channel and click on Future Projections, and then go down and look at where it estimates your channel will be in 5 years. And ask yourself this question: is that good enough? Is that what I want? Or do I think I can do better? And here's the thought. Write down, open Notepad, get a piece of paper, write down what that projection is. And then go out and follow some of the things that we've talked about. Watch a video, get TubeBuddy, some of the stuff I've been talking about. Go and try to improve your channel. Go get a new video out. And then check in on this number, say in a week's time, and see if have you bent the curve up? Have you improved the projection? So that is your mission if you choose to accept it. Check your channel on Social Blade, the Future Projections, and ask yourself, is this good enough? And if not, what are you going to do to make it better? Thanks so much for watching, everybody. This has been a blast. I don't know when I'll get a chance to do it again, but I do it every chance I get. And as Operation Life has predicted, this live stream will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3,